Hello, this is Mole Man in the morning. Good Mole Man to you.
Hello, welcome to Mole Man in the morning.
Good morning, good mole man. We've talked the whole night through, good mole man to you. There you go. Since Michael said it, and there is a musical bit in the show.
Yeah, really weird. We'll get there.
Again, to the audience, I do not think of these ahead of time if that was not painfully obvious.
We can pretend you were tying it into the non sequitur musical bit.
Absolutely.
That's what it was. It's a reference
Absolutely.
to a non sequitur musical.
100%. I'm so witty.
Yep. We are Mole Man in the Morning. We are a podcast about how The Simpsons has a lot to say about society. Sometimes we've been saying it hasn't had a lot to say lately, but
I don't know. I feel like we've eked out a couple good thoughts in the last few episodes, despite the episodes themselves not being quite as prescient as we'd maybe hoped.
I'm hoping we can tease something out today at the very least.
I think we will. We usually do.
But before we get there, we should probably introduce ourselves. I am your host, John, and I am joined, as ever, by my two charming and musical co-hosts, Matt.
Hello!
And Michael.
Idly ho, podcasterino.
Thank you both for indulging me on that one.
I would watch the hell out of a Ned Flanders musical.
Oh, it'd be tremendous.
It would be called Hidely Ho, right? That would be the name of it.
Yeah, I think
I
something
don't
to go with
know
it.
what else you could call it.
But how is there not like a Book of Mormon style Ned Flanders play? That'd be great.
The Book of Flanders.
The Book of Flanders. I'd watch it. I'd go see it.
We give these ideas away for free, Matt Groening.
Yep.
Yeah, Simpsons is so huge. Like, I mean, we have talked with Josh about a Simpsons stage play, but it's not like the Simpsons stage play.
Yes,
so,
there was a stage play that kind of like is like very referential of the Simpsons, but it's not really.
It's not like, Matt Groening and team sat down and were like, let's make a Simpsons stage play. And I don't even know how that would work, but just fascinating to contemplate.
They could even hire the death metal band called what's it called? The one where they all dress like Flanders.
What? The death metal band where they all dress like Flanders? That needs some explanation.
It's real. Metal band dress like Flanders. They're called Oakley Dokley.
Ooh, of course they are.
Was an American metalcore band from Phoenix, Arizona. They ceased being active in 2022.
Oh.
What happened?
I don't think John wants me to go down a rabbit hole this week. I think they want a quick episode today.
Hang on. So, shall I do some housekeeping?
Sorry, can I just say one thing? One of the members are called Head Ned, Zed Ned, Dread Ned, Red Ned, Stead Ned, Shred Ned, Thread Ned, Bed Ned, and Bled Ned. The end. Right, we're done. Move on.
Okay, cool.
We needed Ned.
That was the Head Ned.
Ooh. Okay, so housekeeping. So, I want to thank Alzara for covering for me last week. I was attending a wedding abroad, not being fanned by the natives, as some people incorrectly said at the start.
This is all a lie.
So, to my co-hosts, a couple of questions. One.
7.
Nope.
How the hell did you do a 3-hour podcast?
No comment.
You know how. You know how.
2.
It's always me. It's always me.
2, John, why did you let Matt drink dragon soup again after last time?
I don't physically have the power to restrain him. He's in a different country.
You could have sternly said no. 3.
I think I was harmless.
3. How dare you desecrate the memory of Andrew the Giant by implying he could have only drunk 50 beers at one time? According to Wikipedia, the record is 100.
Ooh, oh my, okay.
Well done.
And 4, this is the most pressing thing. You and your rush to end the podcast on the second episode of Bart's Inner Child. Go back in YouTube if you want to see that. You didn't give the episode an out of Homer.
Did we not?
Do we not?
No, did not.
I don't even have mine anymore. I delete my notes every time I write new ones.
You have disgraced the good name of Mole Man in the Morning.
I'm sure we did, though.
I'm sure we did. I gave it a trampoline out of Homer because it had a lot of ups and downs. I think you made a very similar gag.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did you just not edit it in?
Am I wrong about this?
I didn't. I don't remember explicitly editing it out.
I mean, I did have to sit for 3 hours, or maybe my mind wumbled.
I think your mind wandered.
Just absolutely just blanked on it. Was so sick of the noise of us droning in the background for 3 hours.
I've just never seen a
very possible.
I've never seen an episode summary done so quickly at the end. You did it in like 2 minutes. You didn't even talk about the McGonagall episode.
Oh, I know I did.
You sprinted through it. You did not give it the honor
because
that
we
it
were at the
deserved.
3 hour mark. We sprinted through it because we were at the 3 hour mark.
It was cinema, pure cinema, and you ruined it.
Absolute cinema.
It's secondary to McBain. It will not. It's never going to live up to McBain.
Bane.
Well, that's fair. I can't argue this point.
Yeah.
I've done my ranting. I've wasted 6 minutes. Go on.
There we go. Yeah. Today we are going to be looking at Season 5, Episode 8 and 9, Boy Scouts in the Hood, and The Last Temptation of Homer. But before we talk about them, what are we all drinking today?
I totally planned my drink, and I am drinking a Shipyard, Portland, Maine, USA, American IPA.
Very solid IPA.
There you go. It's opened, sipping. Yep, that's an IPA.
Sweet.
Not really.
Quite bitter, actually.
Yeah, quite famously.
Michael?
So, from the Bad News Beer Company, I am drinking Tropical Unicorn.
I feel like it's been a while since you've drank on the podcast.
It has, we do these on a weekday and I do an office job, so I try to stay sober, but I'm having a hell of a week, so fuck it. But Tropical Unicorn, according to the blurb, is fluffy clouds of pillowy oats. Then we sip down the magical rainbow of berries, apricot, passion fruit, grapefruit, bright orange, tangerine, mango, and coconut.
This sounds like an energy drink I would drink. It doesn't sound like a beer.
There's a lot going on here.
Sounds like a beer I would drink to annoy Matt.
Yeah.
Added bonus.
Added bonus. Fuck my co-host.
Yeah, it's quite pleasant, actually. You can really taste
Is
the
it actually
rainbow.
fruity or is it?
It is. It is actually quite fruity, yeah.
Yeah.
What are you drinking, John?
To bring balance back to the force, I'm drinking Ossett Brewery's King Rat Hazy IPA, which is just normal King Rat. Yeah.
What a stupid name.
I think Ossett Brewery used to have like an old experimental brewery that they called Rat Brewery.
All
of their beers were like something ratty. I remember they did a mint chocolate stout at one point that they called After Rat Mint, which was bloody delicious.
After
That
Rat
sounds quite good.
Mint. That's a sick name.
I'll have to look out for that to bring it back.
But yeah, this does just say Ossett, so I don't know if they've like stopped the experimental brewery and just wound it into the main thing or whatever. But yeah, it's a rat beer.
And there's nothing
Pretty
wrong with
tasty.
it.
It is a beer-flavored beer.
What an endorsement.
I mean, I like a beer-flavored beer. It's a good flavor for a beer to be.
If you would like us to put actual effort into our endorsements, make sure that you subscribe and smash that like button so that we can get sponsored by MeUndies, and I will give it a ringing endorsement every single episode.
For clarity, from me and from many brewers, beer-flavored beer actually is a compliment, because like for anybody who's been making it long enough and is sick of novelty gimmick flavors, like, oh shit, it's a beer-flavored beer. Fucking
excuse
sweet.
me. Excuse me. If there is one person on this planet that is not fucking tired of novelty shit beers, it is you, sir.
I only bought them to annoy you, and since you denied me that pleasure by not getting annoyed anymore, this is why I
Bullshit.
bought normal beers.
Bullshit.
I think you've
You
annoyed
don't
him
get
even
angry
more.
enough anymore for me to justify spending money on them.
This is true. You need to buy weirder. Escalate. You've been buying pretty, like, average shit. I think the last one I really got annoyed at was, like, the coconut beer one.
I can really
'Cause that's
taste the
fucking
coconut in this.
stupid. Ugh.
Anyway, Boy Scouts and the Hood. Aired on November 18th, 1993.
Oh, I have it as November 19th.
Oh! Wikipedia says 18th, Simpsons Wiki says 19th. Not sure who's correct on that one.
Which day was a Thursday? Then you'll know which one it was.
Yeah, Thursday was the 18th.
So it will have aired
Alright,
on the 18th.
Okay, so good thing you said that because I was looking at the wrong day. Yeah. Same sort of thing. 27 people died on both days. Just different,
God.
different circumstances.
Why is it
Yeah.
the same number?
I don't
It
know.
actually is. That's crazy.
So, for context, on the 18th, 27 people were killed in a prison at Morazan, El Salvador. And on the 19th, Algerian Muslim fundamentalist uprising. Same number.
That's so weird.
The two events may be completely unseparate.
Well, one's in Algeria, one's in El Salvador. I would imagine they're unconnected.
I
You never
hope
know.
they're unconnected.
So we get on this day, we also have the famous Nirvana MTV Unplugged performance. Few people may remember that.
I do not know what that is, but okay.
I have a vague inkling. My brother was the Nirvana guy.
Yes, Nirvana did a MTV Unplugged where it was mostly acoustic. It's well regarded. But
Nirvana being well regarded, ridiculous.
Nah, no one likes them.
Vince McMahon was charged with steroid distribution.
Vince McMahon. I mean, no, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense, actually.
Yeah, that totally checks out, yes.
Pearl Jam's lead singer, Eddie Vedder, was arrested for public drunkenness.
Also makes sense.
Yeah, also checks out, to be fair.
Black and white leaders in South Africa approve a new democratic constitution.
Great.
Lovely.
I think.
North American Free Trade Agreement passes the US House of Representatives.
So, do you know, I feel pressured to say something witty to these, and sometimes you get something so dry that you just like, I mean, yeah, good. Trade agreements.
I'm aware NAFTA was an important bit of, like, global trade agreement legislation, but also, like, yes, this is very dry shit.
How about the North Siberia record cold for November? Minus 55 degrees.
Michael, you don't have to read everything that's on that website.
Really don't.
Well, now,
Please, just the
just for
highlight
that, I'm
reel.
now reading out famous deaths. Fritz Field,
No,
German
no.
actor, he died.
Give us meatloaf. We need meatloaf.
Oh, no, you've spoiled it now. So, meatloaf is still the
You
US
can't
and the UK
spoil
number one.
meatloaf.
It's got too many preservatives in it.
Ooh,
I didn't
that's
try meatloaf while I was in America. I probably will while I'm up there in September.
That's a slanderous accusation against meatloaf. Both for the singer and the food substance.
Oh yeah, he was an anti-vaxxer. He wouldn't put preservatives in him.
Oh, fuck that dude.
Do you not know that? I'm sure we talked about
No.
that before.
I remember nothing you people say to me.
Died of COVID, didn't he?
Yeah, he died. Yeah, he genuinely refused the vaccine and then died of COVID.
Oh,
so yeah.
yes. I now remember reading about this online and people being very kind of shitty about it. It's like, yeah, cool, yeah, great. It teaches people to use the vaccine, but at the same time, let's not applaud someone's death, guys. Reddit is a hellhole.
I think he was one of our many, many separate art from artist conversations.
Yeah.
He's not unproblematic like Ernest Borgnine. I think I brought it back.
Cool.
Shall we get on with it?
Let's do it. Boy Scouts in the Hood.
Yeah.
What is what? There's no chalkboard gag. We
No.
still like. I'm getting real worried for the well-being of our chalkboard gag writer today, folks.
Don't worry, he's back in the next episode.
Oh, spoilers.
You spoiled meatloaf for me. So, the couch gag, the family run in, they don't have their eyes, but they leap up and get their eyes
Yeah.
back into the head.
Got a
They do
chuckle
have their
from
eyes.
me.
They're just floating in the air till they're inserted.
I love the like aggressiveness with which they slam their heads into the back of their own eyes. You got to make sure they're in there.
Get some good eyeball popping Foley as well.
We start off the episode into the video game arcade, and we start with a reference that I have.
Video game arcade. Michael, are you 75 years old?
Yes, I am. I am in the spirit of a very old man.
The video game arcade. I don't know why that tickled me.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I cannot lie. I cannot tell a lie.
So we start with a reference that I don't get. Can someone help me with this? It's
The dinner with Ernest.
Dinner with
Was it
Andre.
Ernest? Oh, Andre, that's your man.
It's not
This
Andrew the
was-
Giant, unfortunately.
No. Now, apparently, this is a surprisingly well-received movie from 1981 that I have never heard of before in my life, but yeah, they're riffing on that by making a video game adaptation of a film that is, as much as I can make out, pretty much that. It's two guys having dinner and chatting.
All right.
Martin
bunch.
absolutely loves it.
Tell me more.
I mean, I said my note immediately on this is like this very much has the energy of a 2020s indie game.
Yeah, I would fully expect to see a review of it on your channel.
So Bart is playing a slightly more violent game, and it seems to be some form of Colombian drug lord King Kong combination sort of thing.
I didn't get this.
Panamanian Strongman is what it was called. I don't know what they're doing with this. It feels faintly racist.
Yeah, I was, because the thing is like he's very dark skinned in the game, so your brain immediately goes to the comparison that it shouldn't go to, where you think, oh no, this is really racist. And then he said stuff in Spanish, and I was like, okay.
Bueno.
So where is the what is the joke, and I don't want to make a comment on it in that regard, because it's like I don't understand the joke, so I can't dictate whether the joke had ill intent or not.
I'm not sure anyone can really weigh in on that other than the writers themselves.
It ends with the
character
character being shot down, and George Bush comes and kicks the corpse and tells us not to use drugs.
Once again, they still want those ex-presidents.
That's George Bush, well known for his drug message, I guess.
Sure it was George Bush? Because he said winners don't do drugs. Isn't that a
No, that's
a
very
Reagan
clearly
thing?
No, that's clearly George Bush.
It's Bush Senior.
Okay, right. Okay.
Yeah.
George H.W. Bush, yeah.
Right, okay, right. Fair enough.
We know this because he does make a cameo, sort of, in later Simpsons.
Yeah, he looks like the George Bush analog. It was just like I said, the winners don't use drugs thing. I thought that was a Reagan. I know there was just saying no to drugs, which was Nancy Reagan.
Yeah.
Did George H.W. Bush, like, did he campaign against drugs? I don't even remember.
I know.
I say don't remember. I wasn't
George
alive.
H.W. Bush's presidency.
We chose the wrong episodes for Elsa have to be on.
Yeah,
He could have answered this.
He's older and American. He could tell us these things.
Basically, Bart is out of money, and Milhouse tells him not to say that. We then cut to the monitor the security screens, and the Caucasian males are out of money, according to the security thing. They're there to
Go to code red.
The alarms start blaring. The smoke starts billowing as the ominous figure comes out, and it's the squeaky-voiced teen.
I'm sorry, but you'll have to leave. I like when he's trying to be aggressive.
We then see that Bart and Milhouse are now bored outside, wondering how they're going to kill time for the rest of the afternoon. A bum then comes along and tells them they shouldn't kill time, but cherish it. Then he asks for some change so he can get loaded.
Yep.
Cherishes time well loaded. It's fine.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah, we're off to a hot start here, folks.
There's no hypocrisy there. Don't be daft.
We see Homer's at home, and he's delighted to have some quiet time to catch up on his reading. And we then look, he ignores the books on the table and starts reading the peanut jar.
Again, this always... I'm going to repeat myself, just like I did last time. Why are the books there? Parentheses, for the purpose of the gag. But why are the books there?
I don't know. Lisa was reading them earlier. She left them on the table.
This
Don't
is
worry
possible, yeah. Why do I care about these things? Why were the books there?
Homer's reading is interrupted by Marge asking what he wants for dinner. Homer asks for steak, and Marge says, money's too tight for steak. Homer asks for steak again, and Marge hesitantly goes, okay.
I like
that 80 grand a year again.
The vibe of... You can't tell if Marge is acquiescing and is going to get steak, or is just saying, yeah, sure, I'll get steak. Wink.
Yeah, I think it's that. I think she knows he won't remember what he's asked for anyway, so she's going to get whatever.
He will eat food. He's Homer.
Yeah.
Homer, speaking of eating food, Homer finds the last peanut, which he says is overflowing with oil and salt of its departed brothers.
The peanuts at the bottom of the jar usually are.
And we get another bit that's yet again one of those, oh my god, this is from
Absolutely
this
classic,
episode
yeah.
bits.
Homer tries to eat the peanut, but misses his mouth and goes into a panic.
Something's off here.
We see him go into the sofa, and after finding several things that are pointy and slimy and even moving, Homer's disappointed to find the 20. Money really is tight in this house.
$20 can buy many peanuts. Explain how. Money can be exchanged for goods and services.
Homer's brain goes through that transaction with him, and Homer's excited and he trips on the peanut that he ironically dropped. And that $20 flies out the window.
I fucking love Homer's genius brain. It will never not be funny.
As Flight of the Bumblebees plays in the background, we see the money floats.
To the intro to My Name is Earl.
That's very strange. The Bart and Milhouse are now just punching each other in the arm, and then the money floats in front of them. Bart thinks a plane might have exploded. Which is,
Yeah, what? Why? That's one way to think about it.
Where else would money come from the sky?
This is true. That is where money comes from.
Yeah, that's how you make more money. You have to
Yeah.
explode a plane.
You have to wait for a plane to explode, and then you go collect it. Duh.
The boys are happy to have the money and their prayers answered, so they go straight to the Cookie Mart and they decide that they're going to order a super squishy entirely made out of syrup. This stalls and horrifies everyone in the Quickie Mart, including Snake, who's robbing Apu's cousin Sanjay. And Apu is very pessimistic about this because it's never been done. And Bart declares, just make it happen. We then cut to Apu at the squishy machine, and we see the machine is bucking, and after Apu has to set it to experimental, we see the
Again, I'm
machine's-
just going to point out, for the purpose of the gag, but that's not how slushy machines work.
I don't believe you. I think that's exactly how they work.
I don't think they
Oh,
also
okay, my
shake
apologies.
incredibly violently as Apu is panicking. One guy runs out the store in horror as Apu says, she's breaking up, she can't take it. He then shakes
Nice
it a
little
couple
Scotty
more.
reference.
Yeah, he just shakes up slightly, then immediately just finishes it. And then tells Bart if he survived, please come again. We cut to the boys outside, and the squishy is too thick for a straw, and
Why did they
Milhouse-
get one straw?
because they're idiots.
Yeah.
Milhouse's glasses go flying as he fails to suck through the straw and gives the squishy to Bart.
The
Well, it takes-
straw, he fucking deep throats the straw as well. That thing goes like down his throat. It's awful.
Oh.
Then see Bart take a sip and declare, that's good squishy. He then goes onto a psychiatric trip of seeing 3 Milhouses before him and starts...
Psychedelic, I think you mean.
Yeah, that's what I meant. And he starts speaking in tongues, and Milhouse takes a sip, and he starts making some interesting tweaks and noises. I'm sure that's a reference of something, but I can't remember what it is. I think it might be Three Stooges.
Bart's references are frequently Three Stooges. It could well be.
Yeah.
Bart then declares that they're now young, rich, and full of sugar, and what should they do? And Milhouse goes, let's go crazy Broadway style. We go into a random musical.
I just want to point, as
So
someone
weird.
who has bought what a squishy is, because it's a big gulp, or essentially it's the same thing as a big gulp. I don't know if big gulps existed back then.
I'm trying to think what the most similar thing would be over here.
I assumed it was just. I always assumed it was just a slushy, right?
Yeah, I know, but
a
I'm saying like
non-trademark
it's a
slushy.
deliberate. In my opinion, it's a deliberate reference to things like big gulps in 7-Eleven.
Are big gulps slushies then? I always thought they were just drinks. Or there's a big drink.
There's big drinks and then there's the slushy ones.
okay.
I think I don't remember. Leave me alone. That would have eaten into about a quarter, if not more, of their $20. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, no, don't worry about
It's
that.
1993 money. Everything was cheap. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
worry about
fair.
that, because
The 20,
that
even
20
in
stretches-
1993, goes a long way.
that 20 stretches.
It really does.
The musical starts, and we see them start singing Springfield, Springfield. A sailor comes out and says, New York, New York, and Bart has to direct him the right way.
New York is that away. Thanks,
Thanks,
kid.
kid. We then see the Bart and Milhouse go on their bender, and they've got their own private booth at the video arcade game place.
They go shopping for fancy skateboards, and one detail I clocked in the background there is that I guess one of the high-end skateboards has got 10 wheels. I don't know if that makes skateboards better, I gotta be honest with you.
No, that
but,
would make
yeah.
them significantly worse.
They go see Cats, which is incredibly dull. So Bart livens it up by shooting a spitboard at the stage, and we see that the cat fight begins.
Yeah, and Milhouse wasn't paying attention, so then
He's
there's a
off his tits on sugar.
it's a very lingering shot of Milhouse trying to figure out what was going on, and
Yeah.
there's one word for this episode: padding.
It really is, and it didn't need to be. Bring back the chalkboard gag guy, I swear to God.
Don't worry, we can fill time because they get more sugar with Toothless Joe's gum,
Mhm.
and they blow up the big bubble and it covers them, and Homer just passes them, samples some of it, and goes, free goo.
Free goo.
They go to the 24-hour rub-on tattoo parlor, and they're covered in all sorts of glamorous tattoos. They start going down the street drinking their squishy. Barney is there again, as he tends to happen to crop up in these scenes for no real reason.
Barney's everywhere.
Barney
He gets around.
Barney steals the drink and tells them he doesn't know where those pixies came from, but, sure likes this drink.
I mean, Barney is one of the many town drunks, and this is an allegory for a bender, so of course Barney shows up.
We then see Apu's disembodied laughing head floating around as the come down begins. And we then see that Bart is in his bed, full hangover mode, and Lisa's there just to taunt him, as calling him a sugar junkie.
God, if I'd have grown up with Lisa, she would have not made it to 12.
My note here says, "Shut up, Lisa."
Bart doesn't remember anything, and then Lisa pulls off his covers to reveal that he's joined the junior campers. Bart's in full uniform.
Okay, so can I observe now that we have been introduced to the junior campers? Super fucking weird that, like, we're doing, it's Boy Scouts, but with the serial number filed off. And they even lampshade this later by doing a joke. It's like, not affiliated with the Boy Scouts of America, and yet it's in the name of the episode. They put Boy Scouts in the title.
Yeah, but they're making a reference to Boys in the Hood with the title.
Yeah, okay.
And there's
but
no
it also
rap in
said-
this
it also said Boy
whatsoever.
Scouts, and they're trying to pretend it's not the Boy Scouts. It's weird.
I think it's not they're not making those jokes for, like, copyright reasons. They're making those jokes because they think they're funny.
If there weren't any copyright reasons, why wouldn't they just have had Bart say, "I joined the Boy Scouts"?
Because this is funnier.
Is it funnier to call them the junior campers?
No, but that's what I'm explaining why. I would quite confidently say that it was not because of copyright. It's because they thought this was funnier.
Oh,
Calling
no,
them
I
the
think this is.
junior campers is
I think
silly.
this is purely for legal reasons.
I
Nah,
think so.
nah.
Particularly the bits about them messing around with knives and bathing the elderly. I think maybe they just wanted to make sure they were covered in case someone complained.
Maybe, yeah, especially, yeah.
Nah, I think Boy Scouts is far too generic a term to be for them to worry about copyright. I also don't think Boy Scouts has a copyright.
They've been around for a long time as like
I'm pretty
an
certain they do.
established organization. I would have thought they would.
Hold on, copyright.
Lisa refers to the junior campers as the few, the proud, and the geeky, then laughs hysterically. Bart then theorizes that a boy with a squishy bender could do some crazy things. We then cut to Barney, who's up in a sailor suit and a load of backler on some form of boat.
not again.
Turns out this isn't the first time this has happened to Bob
No,
Barney.
Boy Scouts is not trademarked. Boy Scouts of America is trademarked. Boy Scout registered trademark, but Boy Scouts plural is not.
See, if they'd used a Z, it would have been
Okay.
fine.
They did use a Z.
Oh, maybe that is literally why they used the Z then.
No, they used the Z because it's a reference to Boys in the Hood.
Okay, also that, yeah, no, that's the one, yeah.
We then cut to the next scene, and Bart is lamenting with Milhouse that he's made a terrible mistake. And he's at the kitchen table and he's trying to work out how to weasel his way out of it. And Marge is trying to tell Bart that they might seem uncool, but they do neat things like sing-alongs and flag ceremonies.
Ah, yes, the quintessential cool.
Homer tells Marge not to discourage Bart because weaseling your way out of things is an important thing to learn. It's what separates them from the animals, except the weasels.
Except the weasel.
He says that so conspiratorially, like they're listening.
We then see that Bart is lamenting to Milhouse, and Milhouse reveals that in his own bender, he got a dirty word shaved into the back of his head. Principal Skinner sees it at that exact moment and says, "What's your kid's obsession with that word? We never see said word. So
Yeah.
speculate what it will be to your heart's content." All we know is that Milhouse gets taken away to be shaved bald.
Because
Why
hair
did
is
his
not a
parent-
right,
Yeah,
it's
why
a
did his parents
privilege.
not let him? Why did his parents not stop him from going to school with that it's shaved into his head? Why did he wear a hat?
Put a hat on, my dude, yeah, absolutely.
Well, Nelson steals the bag that contains Bart's uniform and refers to it as Campers Pampers. The bullies start playing keep away, but Bart does not give a shit.
Why was his outfit all in one piece?
That is very weird,
Yeah.
yeah. The
Maybe
shorts are sewn onto the shirt, yeah.
maybe there's braces, I don't know. Jimbo has to threaten Bart that he has to pretend he wants the uniform back, and we just see Bart very unenthusiastic.
Oh
Give me
no,
my
my
uniform
precious
back.
uniform.
We then cut to the classroom, and Mr. Popple says, "What time is it?" And Martin says, "Is it time for a surprise quiz?" That's not what Mr. Popple was going to say, but that's what we're going with. And we then see one of the other boys, who's called Warren, who was in the junior campus outfits, trying to awkwardly ask permission to go, and Mrs. Krabappel gives it. We then see Bart struggling to put the uniform on.
Just getting dressed in class.
Nelson mocks him, and then Bart just tells him to enjoy his test, and Nelson starts his trademark, haha, before he realizes, damn it. We then get the joke about not being affiliated with the Boy Scouts of America sign, and Bart says, this is the alternative to testing. He opens the thing, and we then see that Ned Flanders and the boys are around the sponge bath, the old folks' day, and we just see that Jasper is in a tub, completely...
Stay above the equator.
Stay above the equator. Yeah.
Also, I just want to point out, again, I think saying not affiliated with the Boy Scouts of America implies cheap, low funding, all of those things as well. Again, it all sets up the joke of the fact that this is a shitter version of Boy Scouts.
Bart tries to flee, but his neck scarf gets caught in the door, and we just see him
You
to the
hear
floor.
him
Slides down.
Then come back, and Bart has come to, but he's being given the kiss of life, even though he's clearly conscious.
I was blown away when I found out how fucking few times, how few occasions there actually are to use the kiss of life. Like, all of the time, basically all of the times you've seen it happen in movies are bullshit. Which is very strange. It's just one of those things that you just think, yes, give them the kiss of life. And most of the times, no, that would just kill them.
Chest compressions only perform the kiss of life if you're sure someone isn't breathing, because you're probably keeping the brain alive with oxygen. It's the only
Even
reason to
chest
do it.
compressions you shouldn't do unless, for one, you're really well trained or very specific scenarios, because most likely you're just going to break ribs. It's weird. Movies lie.
I'll phrase it like this as a trained first aider. If someone has gone down with a cardiac arrest, they're dead. Perform the chest compressions. But moving on, Bart is not in need of the kiss of life as he's struggling. We see that Jasper's in the background, still butt-ass naked.
Well, he's got a towel.
Sure is. Oh, yeah, no, he's like a towel.
Well, we don't see
above,
we don't see above
everything
under
below the equator's
so
covered up.
we don't see under the equator, so I can't say that for sure.
No, yeah, I can see it in the background of the shot. He's definitely wearing a towel. It's fine. Do not worry. No Jasper Dong for you.
No. Bart pushes the kid off, and the kid asks, should I keep doing it, even though Bart's clearly unconscious?
It's so dumb.
We then see that Ned is teaching the kids about making makeshift bird feeders by smearing peanut butter onto pine cones. Bart's finally had enough of this, but everyone's about to pull out the pocket knives, and Bart gets very excited as he...
You get to play with knives?
Bart then nicks one and goes,
Cool,
"Oh."
spork.
Bart is told that he can't. It's a Neddy no-no, and he's got to pass a safety knife test, and with the 10 do's and don'ts of knife safety, and Bart says,
No, the
10 do's and 500 don'ts.
Yeah, I was thinking.
oh,
exactly.
right, sorry, I said that wrong.
It's a little high. Yeah, they kind of put Ned's hand over the
Yeah, they
500,
hide
so
it,
it's
it's
not
weird.
a super visible gag.
sorry.
Yeah,
It's a glum toothpaste.
it kind of. Yeah.
Bart's not willing to do it, and he walks away saying, knives are boring. We then see our favourite man, Hans Moleman, being thrown out of
Hey,
Moe's.
oh boy,
And
standing up and cheering and applauding for Hans Moleman.
I just love how serious Mo takes coasters.
yeah, Mo is holding a big ass knife, saying he's got to put his beer in a coaster. Moleman scoffs and says, "You call that a knife?" He then pulls a giant ass knife out of his cane and says, "This is a knife." Then we get the slow motion thing of
Down I go.
I have absolutely used that audio clip at least once when we had technical difficulties in the
Down
past.
I go. Ooh, down I go.
It's very funny. But then cut to Martin, unable to open his cookies because he can't remove the ribbon. Jimbo comes by and slices it through with his knife. And Martin says, let's share the cookies. He ends up being shoved into the ditch and his cookies stolen. We then cut to a man next
I
to
am
Dr.
adamant
Hammer for
that
spit.
the writers of Simpsons went to school with a kid called Martin and fucking hated him.
Quite possibly.
Martin is suffering for his art in this episode. We then see that the man is having issues with his appendix next to Dr. Hibbert, and Dr. Hibbert performs surgery with his trusty pocket knife. He then throws said appendix away where it
It
explodes.
fucking explodes. This is
Comedy
really good.
explosion, love it.
But I have a question.
Yeah?
Why is there no blood? Right, and this isn't like a for a gag thing. This is a genuine question. Because later on we have horrific cartoon violence. We have in an earlier episode where a couple gets literally drenched in blood by an itchy and scratchy movie billboard. We have Halloween horror episodes, Treehouse of Horror episodes, where there is incredible amounts of blood. Why in this one scene is there no blood? It's just odd to me.
I think it was to make the joke later on when he gets up and just puts his shirt on like nothing has absolutely happened to him. And he thanks Dr. Hibbert. I think that would
Yeah,
have
but
been
there's
a bit
no
harder
blood
to
on
bled
the
out.
knife.
He wipes it on a cloth.
No, watch the scene. He cuts it. You see him raise the knife away after the surgery, and there's no blood. I'm not complaining. I'm just genuinely curious if it was just a we couldn't be asked, which is fine. I just find it very interesting because at first, when I first saw it before Itchy and Scratchy, I thought, oh, were they only allowed to use blood in that context in a Treehouse of Horror? But no, they have the cartoon violence, so I just thought it was really weird.
Maybe they couldn't be asked
It's just a
animating
detail I
it.
just didn't think about.
Maybe
Yeah,
they assumed no
probably.
one was going to be looking at that knife going, hang on.
Umpteen years later.
Yeah, the man is absolutely fine. He buttons his shirt back up and thanks Dr. Hibbert, and Dr. Hibbert says, thank the knife.
Thank the knife.
This motivates Bart saying, oh, everywhere I go, people are enjoying knives. Then cut back to Bart in his bedroom reading the book, and Bart says, don't do what Donnie don't does, and sighs that it could have been made clearer. And we see several things not to do, which include, don't use the knife as a toothbrush, don't put your knife into a slingshot, and don't sneak up on the cat with the knife. Bart laments that they won't let you do anything fun. Homer then walks into the room.
Presumably there are 500 pages of these full-page illustrations of Donnie Don't.
Yeah,
Well,
Donnie-
no, there'd be 510 because there's 10 illustrations of what you can do with a knife.
Okay, yeah, there's 500 of Donnie Don't, but 210 of Donnie Do?
This could have been clearer.
It
That
really
could
could
have
have
been
been. Homer comes into the room and just acts like a giant dick. Is the best way I can describe this. He calls Bart the leader of the Wiener Patrol, boning up on his nerd lessons. Marge scolds him and Homer says, you're doing good work, boy. Second Marge is away, Homer goes, egghead likes his bulky book. And Homer tries to excuse us as he's tucking him in. We go and come back to the Scouts, and Bart is getting his rubber knife, and he's earned the rank of Pussy Willow. Bart's about to walk out again. Yeah.
I should. I'm a fucking child.
Bart's about to walk out again, and but Ned's about to teach them how to trap wild animals, and he says this should only be used in life or death situations. Guess what? Guess
Oh,
what?
these fucking got me. I'm amazed that
yeah.
these never ended up on the clip Twitter I used to follow of Homer with the fucking bear traps and not bear traps. I've forgotten what they're called.
Rope trap.
Rope trap. There's a specific name for the one that gets you by your ankle and hangs you upside down.
Okay.
There is a name for it. I've just forgotten. But yeah, it's so funny.
So we cut to Homer, and he sees the cherry pie on the floor, and goes, "Ooh, floor pie." As he walks towards it, his ankle
Pie.
his ankle gets snared in the thing, and we just see these swinging shots of Homer trying to reach the pie while he's hanging upside down. The dog
a different exclamation each time he swings past, just getting more and more disappointed as it gets eaten. It's just like, just Homer noises are great.
Dan Castanelli, or however you say his fucking last name, is one of the best screamers in voice acting. Second only to Goku. You know, like anyone in Dragon Ball Z beats everyone in screaming. But he's so good at it. He's so good at comedic screaming, and you would not think that's a sentence that would ever be uttered.
So the dog gumbles in and eats the pie, and we just see Homer's sad face and expressions
In 2
of
bites.
Homer's sad face and oh. We then cut back to Bart, and he's sewing on his patches, including his patch forgery patch.
Do you guys know how to sew?
Yeah.
I got trained in it a very long time ago. I'm not sure. I could
Trained
pick
in
up.
it. I've been through the
I was in the Cub
trenches,
Scouts
man.
for about 2 weeks.
I had
I
a
used to go to
home,
Beavers.
home economics lesson.
Home economics. Who the fuck are you?
It was part of food technology.
Yeah, we didn't call it home economics. We just called it we just called it food tech, and then occasionally we did home stuff. Fucking fancy boy.
I don't recall doing home stuff. We did food tech, but like there wasn't any sewing involved in it.
The girls did the sewing at my high school. It was a sexist high school.
Sexist. Mm.
Homer comes home and sees that there's a pie next to his car. He then steps on the trap and falls through the hole.
How did Bart dig through fucking concrete?
Just yelling Bart as he falls. Bart!
Then he goes, then he eats the pie.
Yeah.
You would, though.
I mean, you've got no choice at that point, have you?
You're in a hole with an apple pie. You're not going to say
Oh, yeah,
no.
no, I would definitely have eaten it.
I mean, you probably also got like a broken leg at least.
Yeah.
Well,
when,
but the pie
when else would
skews
you
the
want
pain.
pie?
Because apple pie is a comfort food.
If I ever break my leg, I expect at least one of you to bring me an apple pie.
It will
Yeah,
depend.
you can have your pie when you're in hospital, not when you're at the bottom of the hole.
No, give me it immediately.
If you ever fall in a hole, I'll just throw a pie in after you.
Yeah, cool,
It depends
thanks.
on the circumstance. I mean, if you get hit by a car, you're on your own. If you fall down
Yeah,
a hole,
no,
yeah, I'll throw a pie.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a scenario thing. If I get hit by a car, it's Chupa Chups.
You will get nothing, so.
Oh, fuck.
So we cut to Itchy and Scratchy, and we see that, conveniently enough, they're out camping. It starts raining. Itchy turns Scratchy into a tent. He gets struck by lightning.
This was horrifying. The sound effects, man, the Foley work, since John learnt that word recently and has been using it ad nauseum, is haunting. Truly haunting. That, like, how do you get the sound of hammering through a tongue?
Just hammer through a large piece of ham, I guess. I imagine it's somewhat the same. It's the same thing.
It's like the beheading where they use the cabbage. They put a cleaver through a cabbage and then drop it in a bucket.
So we then see that Bart starts pointing out that these guys don't know what they're on about because they're using the wrong sort of knots. Lisa says, "Oh, cartoons don't have to be 100% realistic."
Shut up,
and,
Bart.
Homer walks by the window, even though he sat on the sofa at the same time.
Yeah, I liked that. That was good. Very simple joke.
Mhm.
Bart turns up to the next meeting and he's now greeting Flanders in Flanders talk of, "You know it, Neddy."
Ned Flanders is the best.
Then learn that the father-son rafting trip is now taking place, and Bart thinks in horror about going with Homer, in which Homer's wearing a paper sail hat and going, "I'm the captain. My son is Bart." As he then
So
splashes
strange.
everybody in the thing, and everybody becomes British.
Everyone's British. I thought when with the next thing that's coming up, I thought this was going to be another, the brother charity thing. I thought that's where this episode was going. It is not, obviously, but as soon as I thought, I was like, oh, okay, we're doing this again.
The kid from earlier, Warren, is crying because his dad's in prison, but don't worry, he's got a celebrity dad. His older brother can do it, but Ned Flanders is like, "Nope, fuck that, I've got to earn this Borgnine."
No,
for
we've
you."
already paid for a celebrity voice actor for this episode.
And his Borgnine just happens to be in the bathroom, and he's Sergeant Fatso Judson in Here to Eternity. Is that a real thing?
It might be.
I'm going to be completely honest with you, I'm not very familiar with the work of Ernest Borgnine.
He was in From Here to Eternity. I'm not familiar with From Here to Eternity, and I've not looked it up, so
They did a
not
great
sure.
job of capturing his likeness.
Oh yeah, no, he genuinely was. That was his character, James R. Fatso Judson.
Yeah, he really looks Simpsons nailed it. That is him.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. They give him a big part in this. He comes back repeatedly.
Yeah,
like,
no, they get the money's worth.
yeah, compared to some celebrities where there's like one line, this guy's like throughout.
I mean,
I
a
think
lot
some
of this.
people just like being in Simpsons, though. They just have fun with it, you know?
Okay, so the Ernest Borgnine trivia
Yeah, go on.
is that he had everyone loved having him there. He seemed to have a fucking great time with it, and you can tell. But also, like, he'd never seen The Simpsons. He came because his grandchildren were fans of The Simpsons, and he felt obliged to do it for them.
Oh,
He
that's
got
nice.
5 Navy medals. Just want
Yeah,
to point
cool.
that out. He got the Navy Good Conduct Medal twice, the American Defense Service Medal, the American Campaign Medal, and the World War II Victory Medal.
Hank Azaria said of him that he had no idea what the hell he was doing. He's a good actor, he read his lines just fine, but he had no idea what the show was and no idea what we were doing.
Oh, fair enough. Then I'm wrong. He just kept coming back, I guess. He just liked getting paid.
I mean, I imagine he was somewhat of a big deal to these writers that like their classical.
It's kind of surprising how many like actors as well from that period were in that served, because the actor for Scotty in Star Trek got shot 6 times in the military before being in fucking Star Trek.
Well, they liked drafting semi-famous people into the military because it boosted morale.
That's true,
Right.
yeah.
That's kind of how Elvis ended up at Vietnam.
Fair enough.
So yeah, there's precedent for it. I'm assuming.
No, I agree. Yeah, definitely. He's just crazy.
We cut back to the Simpsons living room, and Homer is still being a jerk. And he says, "Did they teach you how to sing in trees and build crappy furniture out of wooden logs?" Homer's chair then immediately collapses into.
Curse you, poetic irony.
Bart then says they were planning this father-son river rafting trip, and Homer goes, "Hey, you don't have a son."
You don't have a son.
We then see Bart and Homer in their respective rooms, and Bart doesn't want Homer to go, so he just says, "I'll ask him, and I'll say no, and it'll be his fault." Homer is talking to his own brain and saying, he doesn't want to go, but if he does ask, I'm going to say yes. Then Homer's brain says, "Are you sure that's how that works?" And Homer tells his brain he'll stab it with a Q-tip if it argues back.
Yeah, guys, don't use ear cleany things. Just use water.
They both aggressively march out of the room, and Bart aggressively asks Homer to go on the rafting trip. Homer aggressively says he'd be delighted to. They both stop and leave. That's what they've just done. We then see that it's the day of the rafting trip, and Warren is not getting along with Ernest Borgnine. I mean, he sheepishly laughs, but tails off. We then see that Captain McAllister is here for some reason, because he's trying to sell Homer a raft. Homer...
Because boats are involved, so of course he's there.
I don't know what I'm doing.
He tells Homer it's the best seafaring vehicle he has. Homer takes it.
He calls it the yarest river-going boat there be.
They immediately put it in the water. It immediately sinks, and McAllister goes, I don't know what I'm doing.
We frequently see McAllister less and less around boats.
I think that's what makes it slightly
It's
funnier.
true.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is what makes it funnier. The more and more he is indulged as a shit captain, it makes it funnier.
So we see that everybody's now got to find a partner, and all the dads start shaking hands before immediately turning and shaking hands with the other dad. So multiple partners are going on, I guess. Homer is begging not to be paired with Flanders, and Ned comes straight up into his eye line and says, I guess we're partners.
Again, why wouldn't you want to be paired with Flanders? That's a great way to just succeed at whatever you're doing.
But Homer hates Flanders.
Well, he's a numpty.
Well, yes,
Flanders
but
is
it doesn't change the
delightful.
fact.
We then see that they are rafting, and Ned makes a joke that he sees why they're
Also-
called rapids.
Sorry, I just
Not
wanted to
slope.
question.
Yeah, go.
Because Flanders comes by and says, looks like we're partnered. Shall I zinc your sniffer or whatever he says?
Yep,
Is-
those are the words.
Is there zinc in sun cream?
Yes, I believe there is.
Is it?
There's zinc in rotary telephones, handguns. We had a whole documentary
Yeah,
about this.
Oh, my apologies. I fell asleep.
I cannot hear the word zinc without just the phrase "come back" zinc going through my head.
Thank God for a world with zinc. Zinc in sun cream. The 18 best zinc oxide sunscreens in 2024. So yeah, they're still putting it in there.
I guess so.
Is it? Well, I mean, we eat a lot. Isn't zinc in a lot of our food?
Probably.
I'm
That's
going
a
in a
common
fucking-
element.
I'm going in a fucking
That was a
spiral.
documentary. We can't live without zinc.
Imagine a world without zinc.
I can't. I don't want to.
Yeah, well, probably river rafts are probably made out of zinc, and
Maybe.
then see
We're
that,
all made of zinc.
Ned makes the joke that he sees why they're called rapids and not slopids. Bart laughs, and Homer immediately disowns him.
You're not my son.
Then Ned wonders where the map has gone, and we see that Bart's fantasy has come true. And Homer is now wearing the map as a hat, which blows off. But
Yeah, it took me a hot moment to realize that Homer literally does exactly what
What
Bart
Bart
was
thinks he
worried he
would,
would do,
yeah.
like perfectly. Yeah.
But don't worry, Homer has a Krusty Burger fun map, and is surprised to learn there's a New Mexico.
Yeah,
There's
there's
a
a
New
new
Mexico.
Mexico. It's the way he says it in it. It's just like the new Mexico.
We then see they've reached a fork in the river, and Ned asks Homer frantically for directions, but Homer is too engrossed by the number of Krusty Burger locations. And Ned reads out Bible passages and goes right. Ernest Borgnine wonders where the sissy and the bald guy are going.
Can I ask a hypothetical? Just since Michael seems adamant to speed run today.
Hey,
I
don't
wanted
you talk to me about speed
He doesn't
running.
want to take
I-
3 hours.
I wanted to-
We're at the 50-minute mark. Please carry on.
If Krusty Burger existed now, right now,
And
where do
does
you
at,
think it would be on the pantheon of? No, I mean it's an actual franchise. On the pantheon of like quality. Like if McDonald's is like lower than mid-range, because if you like McDonald's, I'm sorry, you like trash. But it's like it's
true.
fine. It's not great. Do you think Krusty Burger would be above or below McDonald's?
I never got the impression Krusty was all that committed to quality as part of his thing. So, like, he doesn't strike me as the kind of person who would serve a good burger.
So it's like
but I don't know, my
Popeyes.
my gut kind of still thinks sort of mid-tier-ish, I guess.
Like, it's not utter shit, but it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I see it at a level like a Burger King. It's like, it's not. It seems fancier to go to the McDonald's, but the quality is probably isn't that much better.
I have tried to give Burger King so many chances because my parents love Burger King. Burger King is dog shit. It is fucking disgusting. I would rather go to McDonald's. I fucking hate Burger King. It is foul. Their bread is shit. Their patties are shit. Their chicken is shit. Everything about Burger King, dog shit. I hate it.
Thanks for killing our Burger King sponsorship potential.
Like, reputationally as a brand, like, I feel like Krusty Burger is almost like equivalent to Wimpy Burger, but I don't know what I'm basing that on in any way, shape, or
No,
form.
I get
It's
you,
like,
though.
yeah, it seems like a Wimpy Burger.
I don't know how to explain it either. I get you, though. 100% on board of Krusty being wimpy. Simpsons.
Anyway, carry on.
Now, what a Wimpy Burger. I haven't had one of those in 20 years.
I miss Little Chef.
Oh, Little Chef.
Fucking great. Do you know Little Chefs actually existed before the roads? We actually just connected them all together.
That's because we used to be clever in this country. We're not clever because we're very much the same as Homer and Ned and the rest. Homer decides that they shouldn't row against the current. Instead, they should just let the current take them off, and it'll take them back to land. We then get the pan shot of them just going further and further out to sea, and we just hear Homer's little quiet, "No."
Yeah, I really like when they alternate the does. It's not 90% of the time Homer does the big loud, classic do. But then when they do the little, just like they change up the formula, either having it echo a bunch of times or whatever. But it's all about subversion of expectations, which we've talked about a lot on Simpsons. Simpsons is subversion of expectations. That's its whole thing. But everything, has patterns. So when Simpsons subverts the expectations of Simpsons, somehow comedic genius.
Mm-hmm.
We then cut to the next scene when Homer is now dancing with animated ice cream cones and lollipops.
This felt... I quickly cottoned on to what was going on, but at first I was like, wait, what is this episode?
What the hell is happening? We don't see the ice creams melt, and as Homer comes back into reality...
He sings the song along with it as he's slowing down, as the music slows.
We don't see that Homer was listening to Todd's Walkman and then throws it into the sea when it stops working, which seems a bit hard.
for my birthday!
He's way more squeakier than I remember.
Yeah.
Homer starts using the drinking water to wash his socks and ignores the Flanders' argument that they need to ration the water. It says, what are we surrounded by? He starts drinking the seawater and has to be physically restrained.
Just imagine in your head right now drinking seawater. Just, bleh, I hate
It's
it.
not
The
great.
thought is just fucking foul. Also, a great poem that he references. Yeah.
He misquotes Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, says, water, water everywhere, so let's all have a drink.
Yeah, water everywhere, and all the ships did sink. Water everywhere, and nary a drop to drink. If I recall.
Nor any drop to drink, I believe, is the original line.
Okay, no, I don't know. I thought it was nary, but no. Okay, you're probably right.
The commonly quoted one is, and not a drop to drink.
Yes, I know.
That's wrong.
Because that was the thing, is my dad really likes that poem, and he quoted that one when I was young. So I remember when I, heard the proper poem for the first time, I was like, dads can be wrong?
Homer declares that they're doomed, and Flanders says, nope, you're wrong. Seagulls always stay near land. They only come to sea to die. The seagull then goes on a kamikaze dive straight to the water. And Homer taunts Flanders and says, I was right. We are doomed in your face.
He makes this joke twice.
And asks Homer what he's doing to help, and Homer says, fine, I'll take charge of the rationing. And then Homer says the secret is little bites, and he starts doing delicate little nibbles before he goes into full-on inhaling all the food. And eventually he has to be restrained again.
And then he cries.
Homer sobs that why he couldn't be on one of those smart rafts and having the time of his life. We didn't see that deliverance is happening to everybody else.
Little giggling in the background is so creepy.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering why nobody is looking for them, we now explain what's going on back home.
Yep, Chief Wiggum says they can't search for them until they've been missing for a week because they're too busy. We then see Wiggum get off the phone and he's playing checkers with a dog.
King me.
And Marge is with Patty and Selma, and Patty and Selma try to be reassuring by saying it is cougar season and those things don't mess around. We cut back to the rescue, and we see that there's a rescue plane, and Flanders is about to fire the flare gun, but Homer takes it off and tells him it's not one of his church picnic flare gun firings. This is the real thing.
What does that even mean, Homer?
Homer fires and immediately destroys the plane, but Homer reassures them that when they come to rescue the pilot, they'll get saved too.
That's so good. As the fucking parachute lands in the other plane and
Which just
fucks
takes
off.
We then see that three
good.
dolphins swim to the raft, and Flanders says dolphins always help humans lost at sea. The dolphins, in their dolphin language, tell the humans they're all going
You're
to
all
die.
going to die.
That seems about right. I think that's how dolphins.
Dolphins
view
are
humans.
psychopaths.
Yeah.
Not friendly. Flanders begins to lose his mind as he says that they're all dilly-dully doomed and done for. Homer forcibly slaps him and tells him to snap out of it. Flanders thanks him and Homer keeps on slapping him.
It's
And
better to be safe than sorry.
Between slaps,
Yeah.
it's better slap, to be slap, save, slap, and so on.
Diddly.
Yeah,
It's
it's
slap.
more diddly.
We then see that Wiggum is finally about ready to conduct a search, but the fridge is unfortunately out of beer and cold cuts, and they're not going to cast off without them.
How long would they have been in there? If they
Well, they
had
said they
found
wouldn't
them?
start searching for a week, so the fact that the police are in the boat means it must have been a week.
No,
at
I
this
They are
meant,
looking
I
pretty
meant the
dejected.
beer and cold cuts.
Oh, okay. Well, beer keeps. And
Cold cuts.
I don't know who's
matter.
powering the fridge, though.
We then see that Homer is using the last cheese dougal as bait for a fish, and we didn't see Flanders' very feeble Godspeed little doodle as Homer does this. The fish takes it straight away, but it immediately comes off the reel.
It's already like great, but then Homer confidently saying
He'll be
back.
We then
It's
pan-
so fucking good.
We pan tonight, and we then see Homer going, yeah, fishy, fishy, fishy.
We're waiting.
We then see that the air is thick with fog, and Homer says, because we're not going to live, he's going to give Bart his present now. And it's a real Swiss Army knife. Homer says he stole it from Ernest Borgnine. We then cut to Ernest Borgnine, who's being confronted by a bear. The other dads appear to have been taken off by the creepy laughing hillbillies, I'm guessing. But Borgnine says he's going to take care of it with his trusty, and then realises he doesn't have his knife, and you just see him kind of give up.
I suddenly realised we mentioned the reference to Rime of the Ancient Mariner, but like it suddenly occurs to me like the whole Stranded at Sea, the way it all plays out with like the weather and everything, it feels very Rime of the Ancient Mariner as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know if that was intentional or just like a fascinating coincidence.
It's probably intentional.
Bart apologises for the way he's been around Homer and says if he could lift his arms, he'd give him a hug. Homer tries to give him the knife, and then we see the knife fall out of his hand and just bounce multiple times onto the raft.
Just the
So-
repeating. It's great.
It comes to rest and everyone's relieved, but unfortunately the magnifying glass reflects the sun's rays, which puts a hole in the raft. But says Homer's expression is not filling him with optimism, even though they do a faraway shot, so you have to really struggle to see Homer's actual expression. Homer says the foul stench of death is among them, and then sniffs in the air and he can smell hamburgers. And everybody else can smell hamburgers, but then realise it's Burger King and give up hope again. Nope, sorry, that's the Matt revision. Nope, it's
I would rather drown at sea.
nope, it's they can smell Krusty Burger, and Homer pulls out the map and realises that there's a Krusty Burger on an oil rig. And Ned laments the fact that they can't see because of the fog, but Homer goes into full Bloodhound mode, and he leads them on their way. They then cut to said oil rig, and Krusty is looking very depressed as he's informed that this is an unmanned oil rig, so no one was ever going to come.
Is that a thing? Are there unmanned oil rigs?
I imagine
I have
more
no
so
idea.
these days, if you can do technological stuff.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I just kind of think it's like, it's a lot of precious, like, important material in a very precarious situation to just leave unmanned, you know?
They do have them. A normally unmanned installation, or NUI, is a type of automated offshore oil or gas platform designed to be primarily operated remotely.
I wonder how often they get visited then.
Depends how many people need Krusty Burger.
This is true. This is true. This
As
is true.
Krusty's finally about to shut the oil rig down, Homer barges through the door and orders
Give me
700 Krusty.
700 Krusty Burgers.
He's then asked if he wants fries with that.
How many McDonald's cheeseburgers do you think you could eat?
Oh god, that's a question.
I think I
Probably
could.
not as many as Homer.
I think I could confidently eat 5.
Five's a
They're
good
very
number.
small.
Five's a good number. I'd go with 5.
Yeah, I think I could eat 5.
I'd have a crack at it. My eyes might be bigger than my belly, but I'd have a crack at it.
All right. Well, when I come visit in summer, we'll try and
I am a
eat 5.
vegetarian, so like.
You're a vegetarian?
But if you put 5 Krusty Burgers in front of me, I'd have a go at it.
I didn't know you were a vegetarian.
I don't think you understand what the word vegetarian means.
I'm a really bad
terrible
vegetarian. Look, my rules are I'm a vegetarian unless I'm drunk, hungover, or if someone puts meat actively in front of me.
Excellent. I'm on my way.
Is that good enough for you, Peter? Buck thanks Homer and says he's proud to be his son. Homer tells him to go away because he's eating.
Can't talk eating.
But then cut back and Ernest Borgnine and the remaining children have found an abandoned campsite.
This is Camp Krusty, right?
It looked a bit
Oh
like
shit!
it.
Yeah. Oh Christ! Yeah, I never even made the connection. Yeah, maybe.
He starts doing a rendition of Bingo is his name. Oh, but we see that there's something lurking in the bushes.
These guys are terribly out of sync. That's why the creature in the woods attacked, is because they were singing it so badly.
We then see the kids look horrified and Ernest Borgnine turns around to be surely killed.
Fun fact, Ernest Borgnine is a real guitar player, so he did bring his own guitar, but he was not a good singer, and apologized for that, but they kept it because they thought it very much kept to the authenticity of his character.
Yeah, I mean, the character in Simpsons did seem like a guy that would bring his guitar everywhere.
And have a crack at singing, even though he can't sing.
Absolutely.
So, what did everyone think?
Fun episode. You know, it's funny. You know, I feel like I've said it too many times, so I'm not going to say a standard episode of Simpsons, because I honestly don't think it was. I think it was very weird and very silly and much more of a... I think when a lot of people think of Simpsons, they do think of these kind of episodes, these kind of like very out of the box, weird kind of movie parody kind of vibes. You know, it's a fun episode, you know, a lot of laughs. No complaints.
I mean, I'm gonna fall back on one of our old classics of I had more fun talking about it than I did watching it. Frankly, all the boat stuff, the full last quarter of the episode just dragged a bit. It was just like they didn't really do anything with it. It was just doing an endless barrage of bits, and most of them involved Homer being what I saw someone somewhere describe as aggressively stupid, and yeah, it's a bit much even for Homer sometimes.
I would only disagree in the sense of I feel like the next episode, without major spoilers or anything, is the opposite of this in that sense. And it's like I'm trying to think of how to word it. It's the next episode is a great example of how trying to have a plot and also have bits can go wrong. So sometimes just being dumb bits can be quite refreshing.
Okay.
I liked this episode, and I definitely enjoyed it as much as I did talking about it, is what I will say. So I think I'm on a much more positive than you are, clearly.
I think if they'd sort of done more with the third act, like we see bits with the police that just go absolutely nowhere. The Ernest Borgnine stuff is just throwaway nonsense for background filler. And
I strongly disagree
just
about the police bits. Strongly disagree. I think for one, we've said it before, Chief Wiggum is always hilarious, but Chief Wiggum standing proudly on the boat and then saying, we're not casting off until we go to the store.
Oh
hilarious.
yeah, but they don't do anything with it. The police aren't involved in the rescue in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
They're just there
It's just a Chief Wiggum bit. One of my favourite Chief Wiggum bits has nothing to do with the rest of the episode, and that's wrong number, this is 912. Nothing to do with the episode, but my favourite bit of the episode.
I don't know, like it just felt a full 5 minutes of like nothing happens, nothing happens, nothing happens, nothing happens, nothing happens, you know?
I totally see where you're coming from. I'm not disagreeing with you. I just enjoyed it. That's all it is.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't enjoy it. I'm just saying
Absolutely.
I did not enjoy it as much as you did.
Michael?
Yeah, I just think it was a very solid episode. It was a lot better than I remember it being.
Ha! Fuck you, Sean. I'm kidding.
No, I do see your point. There are bits in it where it's not needed, and I would have rather got rid of the Patty and Selma scene and had a chalkboard gag, if I'm honest.
It is definitely a kind of hodgepodge of random bits and ideas. It's not Simpsons writing at its best. It's, in my opinion, good Simpsons comedy, not good Simpsons writing. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
Any scores out of Homer, shall we?
I will quite happily give it. I'm still thinking about that mecha game I played earlier today, and I'm too stupid to come up with an out of Homer. Out of Homer.
Fair play.
Yeah, fair enough.
That was a low effort one, I've got to be honest, but okay.
I'm going to give it a super squishy out of
You
Homer.
call that low effort? You hear how long it was?
Yeah, and they were just the words that came into your head immediately at that moment.
Yeah, that's fair.
The highs are grand, but the lows are a hell of a crush down.
Fair enough. I give it a slowly sinking dinghy out of Homer. It started out pretty good, but like it wasn't great at the end.
You don't know what you're doing.
I don't agree, though. I think this episode was pretty consistent throughout.
I enjoyed the first two acts. As soon as we just got to boat shenanigans around the 15-minute mark, it was.
That's what I like doing this show, though, is we all have very different opinions. Like you really like the B sharps.
Everyone likes the B sharps except for you. You're weird. I don't know what to tell you.
I am. I'm not disagreeing that I'm weird. I just thought it was boring.
Cool. You are wrong, but cool.
Objectively.
Okay, did this have anything to say about society?
Well, again, here is Matt's classic getting blood from a stone for this segment. Because I like to keep the segment alive to make my friend John happy.
Good.
Surprisingly, most of the jokes weren't at the Scouts' expense. They were at the people making fun of them. Usually in these scenarios, it's making fun of the Scouts. Homer makes fun of the Scouts, but then he's always proven to be a dick, or wrong, or poetic irony, or poetic justice comes in, all of these things. So I thought that was interesting. I don't think it's saying anything about society. I think it is, again, just Simpsons' classic subversion of expectations. But I do genuinely think that's interesting, because think of every sitcom, even modern sitcoms, make fun of boys that were in the Boy Scouts. Modern sitcoms make really disgusting jokes. Older sitcoms make gay jokes. You know, so it's just interesting to see a show not... And this isn't me being like, oh, I like the Boy Scouts. I just thought it was interesting.
I mean, I think cracks at the Boy Scouts are not entirely unwarranted. They have a complicated history, but also,
sorry. I don't feel like sitcoms were making jokes about the Boy Scouts, as in the Boy Scouts of America. They were making jokes at people that are in the Boy Scouts.
Okay,
in my opinion. I haven't heard every Boy Scout joke, but yeah, I get where you're coming from, though. But
yeah, no, I mean it is interesting, as you say, like to see almost a different angle. Like even Bart, who starts out like strongly opposed and like regretting his life choices, kind of comes around on it in the end. Yeah. Like it's I don't know, it's odd, and like even maybe not as overt as it could be, because I was like, oh wait, shit, Bart's getting into it. It took me a moment to realize, like, oh wait, actually, the whole trap bit where he starts trapping Homer with the rope traps and things, like that's actually where he's kind of turned around on the Boy Scouts a bit. But like I didn't initially get it, but like after he's learned to like dig holes in the yard and trap Homer with pie, like he's like then going in and being like, "Hidely ho, Nettie, how's it going?" and stuff. And he's on board.
I think that's they've done this joke a couple times now, where Bart gets, it's the thing about teaching, it's like the best way to teach is to engage someone in a way that they find interesting. A student can't come to you. You have to come to the student. And I think that's not necessarily what's happening there, but Bart finds a way to engage in the Boy Scouts in a destructive way, and then learns just sort of slowly becomes a more responsible person. Obviously, it's reset to 0 because next episode Bart will continue to be a piece of shit. But I think, there's maybe that to say about society, that a lot of the kids...
Bart does in the next episode. No.
I don't think he does anything, really. But there is that comment there that most troubled kids just need a outlet for their energy, which is what my parents did with me. Is they found outlets, and it worked. I'm a totally normal and polite and very lovely person to be around now.
And it's all thanks to the Boy Scouts of America.
It's all thanks to the Boy Scouts of America. Registered trademark. Sponsored by.
Meanwhile, I was in the junior campers, and I'm a piece of shit.
I was in Beavers and Cubs. And I loved it. I love going camping. Camping is so fun. I'm going camping with Blaney soon. Love camping. It's so fun.
I like camping, but I didn't get camping impressed upon me by school at all. So
I was at school with my mum. My mum was a Cub Scout leader.
Yeah.
Random personal facts about Matt.
I joined the Cubs. I mentioned earlier, like I was in it for like 2 weeks. I joined like almost right before I was like slightly too old to join. So they immediately would have been like, okay, now you have to join the Scouts.
Yeah.
At which point, like I was older than I joined the Cubs because my friends were in the Cubs and they were all younger than me. So suddenly it was like, oh, now you have to join this other organization where none of your friends are. So I was like, fuck that.
Yeah.
So I just did not carry on.
Anyway, Michael's slowly seething. So shall we carry on?
We are running late, so let's crack on.
Slowly seething. I just left.
It's just disconnects from the call. Right, bye guys. This episode will be fast.
Last Temptation of Homer, December 9th, 1993.
The Ivory Coast Premier Utawaras resigns.
Cool.
My Fair Lady was revived for 165 performances at the Virginia Theatre in New York City.
Damn, I've never seen My Fair Lady. All right, there's my next challenge. John, have you seen My Fair Lady?
Absolutely not.
All right, we're watching My Fair Lady by next Sunday, because it's halfway through the week.
Meatloaf has been dethroned on both sides of the Atlantic. The US, he's been toppled by Janet Jackson again.
Oh my god, I've just seen the UK one. Oh my god, I'm ashamed of our country.
You know it's real now. Mr. Blobby's the UK number one.
Mr. Blobby.
Fuck me.
Fucking A.
Something that's completely culturally inscrutable to anybody outside of this sceptred isle.
Yes, most Americans do have the thing of looking at Mr. Blobby thinking, what the fuck?
Guys, should I show Jill Mr. Blobby and see if she dumps me?
You.
She'll be like, I don't want to date someone from this tainted country.
Yeah. If you can't love a penis with yellow spots, then it's not real love.
That was a perfect impression.
Yeah, pretty on the money.
Even as a kid, I found Mr. Blobby terrifying.
How dare you? He's a national icon.
Absolutely terrifying. Freaked me the fuck out as a kid. With the mental health problems I've discovered I have, makes sense, but I hated him. Hated him.
Who could crash through a wall and molest Noel Edmonds like that? No one.
That's a sentence you don't hear every day. Simpsons.
All right, let's give us a chalkboard gag, because our guy's either been rehired, someone else has replaced him, or he's got better. I'm not sure which.
They've just stopped trying to pad out the fucking episodes.
Yeah.
It's fine. We've got all work and no play makes sport a dull boy. Glad we brought him back.
But they changed the format, so he's writing it like the guy from The Shining.
The couch gag, they're on the David Letterman show.
Yeah, it was cute.
Sure.
I thought it was funny.
Because we'd all like to be on the David Letterman show.
I'd hang out with David Letterman.
We then cut to the opening scene.
Wait, did he have
the...
controversies? Did I say something stupid?
I have no idea. I do not know enough about David Letterman to weigh in on it.
Right,
I don't think David Letterman has done anything that I'm aware of. We cut to the opening scene, and we see that Bart and Milhouse are playing a prank. They've repainted the parking lot to make the lines even closer to each other.
This is evil. Evil.
Milhouse's line here is, I fear to watch, but I cannot turn away. As Bart says, herein lies the game. We then see everybody park up, and none of the teachers can get out of their car, including Principal Skinner yelling at Mrs. Krabappel as she tells him to, go tell your mother, and he goes, don't worry, she'll hear about this.
She'll hear about this.
Bart starts laughing maniacally, and we then cut to Mrs. Krabappel saying they can't prove who did it, and they live in a democratic country, and Bob says, God bless the USA. Until Mrs. Krabappel says democracy does not exist in the classroom, and Bart will now answer every question in the classroom.
Fun fact, a teacher genuinely did this to me because I was a piece of shit when I was young. And I just said, I don't know. I was just honest. Because she was trying to, like, teach me a lesson of, like, oh, well, he'll be embarrassed because he doesn't know because he's not paying attention in class, blah, blah, blah. I just said I don't know and just sat there and stared at them.
One of my chemistry teachers had a real thing for trying to get everybody in every lesson to answer at least one question, and would kind of like,
You were getting nothing done.
if you didn't volunteer an answer to a question, he would eventually pick on you, and like in a weird way, it genuinely fucking worked, and I hate it, but it did work in that it conditioned you to answer the questions you did know the answer to, because you would like, oh, I need to get this out of the way
so
at
I
the
don't
start of the lesson. And he's like, okay, which element is the letter H? And I'm like, oh, me, I know, yep, hydrant, please, yeah, there we go.
Please
I'm
leave
done
me
for the
alone.
lesson.
Just
I'm
stand
out.
up and leave the classroom. Peace, I'm out.
he just get up and leave. I answered one question.
My work here is done.
So Bart is asked his question, which is how to pronounce the word photosynthesis. And Bart can't read it on the fingers. Martin has a nervous breakdown next to him. And Martin eventually does finally butt in and answer it and goes, damn your feeble brain.
What kind of home life does Martin have that he's...
Drives him to this level.
Yeah, because, I mean, we all knew kids like this in high school. Maybe even primary school, but mostly high school. That were just that fucking desperate for the teacher's approval. And as a teenager, I didn't give a shit. I just thought they were nerds. But now I look back and I'm like, man, your parents must have, like, had so many high expectations of you that you just desperately needed to meet.
So Bart reveals he couldn't read it, and Mrs. Krabappel wonders if Bart's behavioural and poor grades was due to the fact he can't see. Bart turns into a cockney again and says, it's not my peepers.
It's not me noggin, it ain't me noggin, it's me peepers. Yeah.
Well, that's just lovely.
Is this
Lovely.
is it the actress making this decision?
I don't know. I don't know if we will ever know.
Who's making this choice? Because from what I've noticed, from having a lot of American friends, dating Americans, they just find our accent funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just our accent is just funny to them. And it's... we really should have an American on this show more often, because I see these bits and I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I just find this annoying. This is just dumb. This is just stupid. Because it's not even a, like, we don't sound like that bit that's not funny to me. I just don't get the joke on such an unfathomable level.
Maybe they're all just big fans of Dick Van Dyke. Maybe this is what we'll go for. So we then cut to the power plant, and Helmer takes all his work chums to watch this as he pinches a guy's arse with a robotic arm. The guy drops his plutonium, and we see him run to the window, and the gas cloud gets him, and everyone just says, oh, he's done for.
God, Carl is cold as fucking stone right now.
Says, don't worry, the glass will protect us, and then we see the gas slowly come through the
Just
window.
seeps through.
Lenny says, let's run to his house. We then see the workers try to leave, but
Why
they run
does he
straight
say
into a
that? Why did he say we can hide at my house?
Maybe Lenny has a radioactive-proof house.
Maybe, yeah.
They all run into the wall and realise that the emergency exit has been painted on. Carl panics and realises that they're doomed as the gas takes them and they all faint.
I did like my thought process, because you see the door before they run into it, and I did look at that door and go, that looks weird. And then they all ran into it. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Then cut to Charlie in Mr. Burns' office, and he won't bore him with the details of the miraculous escape. Presumably the writers can be arsed coming up with one.
More like the animators couldn't be paid enough to animate it.
Yeah. Then says that they really need a real emergency exit, and Burns sarcastically asks him if he wants lead in the radiation shields and urinal cakes.
Yes, please.
I love that these are equivalent things.
Yeah, absolutely.
He orders Smithers to throw the notebook at him, and Smithers does.
You throw this at him.
Then presses a button on his desk, and Charlie is sucked up by a mysterious tube. And Burns asks where that tube goes, and Smithers says, I don't know, it was here when we got here.
The idea of that already being there, and you just think, I'll use this.
We then go to some sort of palace in the Middle East, and we then see Charlie land on a table, and he's instructed to dance, and we see the screaming as he does so.
Yeah, again, so not to like go on a full soapbox here or anything, and I want everyone that already knows that watches this show that we're all woke libtards. I just want to say, I try to when I watch something and I see something and my immediate thought is that's racist, I try and stop myself and think, is it? Because that is a problem, is always looking at things and just going, that's racist, or immediately assuming the worst. And I was like watching this and thinking, what is the gag? And that's the thing. And I still don't really know. I think it is just meant to be absurd. I don't think it's meant to be making any kind of comment.
Yeah.
You know, more than anything, at the end of the day, Simpsons is very rarely trying to make a direct comment about a culture or people. Yeah, they make social commentary. I don't think they make remarks about cultures. Until they started doing the screaming thing. Then I was like, nah, it's kind of racist.
Yeah. Yeah, likewise, I do not know exactly quite what to make of this. I don't know what they were doing or going
I
for
don't quite
here.
know which culture they were.
And likewise,
Yeah.
I don't want to just knee-jerk go, oh, The Simpsons has included any person of color, ergo that is racist. Worryingly, there's a bit of a correlation, or at least it feels like there's a correlation. But like, yeah, you do want to analyze it, and I did the same. I was like, is this racist? What are they doing here? What specifically is racist about this? And I'm like, I just have no fucking clue what they're doing here, but it feels pretty fucking racist.
Like I said, I overall, I look at it and think, I don't think it's racist until they do the screaming. The screaming thing was like
knocks it up a notch, yeah.
And because again, it's like, when you look at it from a modern lens, a lot of things are problematic. Obviously, everyone talks about how Elvis songs are all super rapey. I'm like, well, no, you're looking at it through a modern lens. Because I love Elvis. I think he's a fantastic musician. Whatever about the person. But it's like, was this joke ignorant? Was it racist? Was it completely harmless? You know, you've got to find where it is on that spectrum. And it's like, again, because we don't know what culture they were trying, like, this is in reference to. I think the worst you can say about most of the joke is just that it was ignorant. You know, because it's just absurdist humor. Because you've got to keep in mind that at the end of the day, that's what Simpsons is. Absurdist humor, and that's it. Until they do the screaming.
Absurdist humor made by a bunch of white guys in the 90s.
Yeah, so again, like, the worst you can say really is like that they were ignorant.
Yeah.
Until they do the screaming.
We then see Burns and Smithers talking, and Burns says they've got to find someone on the cheap because it's been a lean year. They don't have a money fight
Money
to throw stacks
fight.
of money at each other.
I want to save up just so I can have a money fight with John. I want to save up my money for that one purpose.
We then see that the new man is Zutroy, and Burns tells him he's doing an excellent job, and if he works hard, he'll get a shiny penny. We then see somebody burst through the roof, and it turns out it's just the Department of Labour, who want to tell Burns that he's an illegal alien, and Burns says that Zutroy is American as apple pie. He then says he says words in a foreign language.
Did anyone
Mr.
Google
Burns.
it? Did anyone Google it? What did he say?
I didn't actually, no. Simpsons Archive did note that the Department of Labour coming through the ceiling was a reference to the Terry Gilliam film, I think, Brazil, which I have seen, but a very long time ago, and I don't remember what that's a reference
One of
specifically
the few
to.
Terry Gilliam films I don't think I have seen.
It's very long. I remember it being way longer than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
Burns is criticised for his labour laws that he's broken, which has included kidnapping a Brazilian soccer team to work in a reactor core.
That plane crashed on my property. Therefore, I can keep them as slaves. That is Burns logic.
Also, one of those bits that people decided was slightly prescient because some years later there was a plane crash that had a Brazilian soccer team on it.
Yeah, I know which one you mean. It's the I forget what the name of the team was, but yeah. Like
Were they then kept as work slaves?
No, they mostly died.
Oh, well then, I think that's a bit of a reach, gang, on the internet.
No, I just think odd that they reference to like a plane crash of a Brazilian soccer team and then a plane crash of a Brazilian soccer team actually happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I get
just
it.
weird.
Burns is threatened and told that he's got to reverse his sexist employment policies and hire a woman. He
He
agrees
hired
to, but
Marge once.
I guess he didn't hire anybody else since. He says that he will hire a woman, but he's standing by his hiring policies. We then see a duck coming past, pulling a wagon. He tells Stuart to get back to work.
If we need a better example of absurdist humour.
We then cuts to the HMO, which is the Hibbert money-making organisation.
Yeah.
Dr. Hibbert tells her that he now offers every medical service they'll ever need under one roof and says, you do have insurance, right? And he's about to press the button that brings out the same tube that took away Charlie, but Marge just has her insurance, so he stops himself.
How many buildings in Springfield have one of those tubes?
Not enough.
I guess it must have been a deal. We then see that Bart gets his glasses for his lazy eye, and this steadily builds up to Bart needing several medical procedures, which include scalp rub, specialist shoes, and then a voice spray.
I couldn't tell for the longest time in this episode which was the A plot, and then I realized I don't care.
The spray turns Bart into Jerry Lewis.
For some very strange reason, yeah.
I guess they thought it was a funny voice.
Yep, that so much of The Simpsons is this accent funny? Yes, okay, ship it.
You can tell that the writers thought this was hilarious.
We cut to Lenny calling Homer bitching because they're going to have to work with a woman, which is he can't spit on the floor or take their pants off when it gets hot. And Homer mentions he can't pee in the drinking fountain, which horrifies everybody. But Homer says, not that I ever have done.
Do you know there's a Reddit that is dedicated to people that piss in the sink?
Why? Why is that? I mean, like...
I will be taking no questions.
Fine if you do it, whatever. But why is there a Reddit dedicated? Like, that's the weird bit.
I will be taking no questions.
Fair enough.
Are you aware of this subreddit because you're an active poster on this subreddit? Or...
I am aware of it because I think it came up on an Am I Overreacting?
He's a moderator.
Yes, I actually created it. A girl found out her boyfriend does it, basically. I think was
okay.
Yeah. It was like a screenshot of because the guy was like posting on the Reddit and then said, "Guys, am I fucked?" Because it was a screenshot of the girlfriend like just sending a million texts to him saying, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Because yeah, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
Maybe you get better angle.
I don't know.
Do you? Sink's usually quite high up.
I think
I didn't say you're peeing. Your feet might not be on the ground.
It's like it must be like a weird rebellion thing. I don't think it's a fetish thing. I think it's a weird, like, social rebellion quirk thing. I don't know, man.
There's a whole subreddit if you want to find out, but I don't, so let's move on.
No, I'm not taking my Reddit's already fucked.
Smithers introduces everybody to Mindy Simmons and says she's got a degree in engineering or something. Some very unenthusiastic greetings, and Homer turns around and he then gets a vision of Mindy.
He also turns around the wrong direction to look at her, I wanted to point out. He turns to his right. She is on his left. See
that Mindy's a vision of a goddess, and we see that violin music's going on, and Lenny and Cole are now Cupid angels, and they ask him what's the matter, and Lenny says, "You never seen a naked chick riding a clam before?" This prompts Homer to run out. And Homer wonders, what?
I strongly believe that in 1993, the Simpsons writers really needed to get laid. Because when there's a woman on the show, holy balls do they draw that woman.
Have we noted at any stage yet that Mindy is Michelle Pfeiffer? I don't believe we have.
It's probably Michelle Pfeiffer? All right,
it's Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah.
Just in case you wonder why Mindy never turns up again after this episode. But yes, Mindy is drawn generously, shall we say.
Mm.
And Homer thinks he was just hallucinating because he ate a packet of powdered gravy.
Don't ever do that, Homer. That's bad.
Bart goes to school with his new look, and the kids taunt him, including calling him Four Eyes and Nelson's 2 feet. And Martin just tells Bart up front that his appearance is comical to him. Bart then looks in Milhouse's glasses and realizes he's a nerd, and Milhouse looks back and realizes he's also a nerd.
Apparently the first time he's seen himself reflected in anything since he got the glasses.
I mean, if you were Milhouse, would you look in a mirror?
Oof.
I meant Bart, but yeah, touche, also Milhouse, yeah.
Then see that Homer's leaving the plant with another box of stolen pens. And
another day, another box of stolen pens. Love it.
We then see Mindy's on a motorcycle, and Homer says, I didn't have any fantasies or hallucinations this time. That was just a fluke. He then fails to realise he's actually driving down the highway backwards and crashes into a trout hatchery. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's the one.
And as Homer settles himself after the crash, we then see the trout come up and start singing Homer loves Mindy. And Angel Cupid call and
Cherubs.
Cupid Lenny.
Cherubs.
Yeah.
Cherubs are kind of angel, I think.
No.
The cherubs tell Homer that he's hallucinating again, and it's not a good sign.
Those cherubs just flew through a closed window. Just want to point that out.
I mean, it's a hallucination. I don't think the laws of physics apply in Homer's mind.
They should.
Then we cut to the next scene, and we see that Homer's trying to get gauge what the guys think of Mindy, and they don't really want to discuss it, but Homer keeps bringing the conversation back to Mindy. Lenny's worried because Homer usually just takes a box of donuts into the bathroom, and Homer's response to this is just, Mindy rides a motorcycle.
Yeah, this was uncomfortable and weird.
Okay, I found far more things about cherubs than I hoped to learn immediately. There's some biblically accurate cherubs here.
I need to Google biblically accurate cherub now.
Meanwhile, Bart tries to prove to everybody that... Did someone piss in your sink, or did you see an anatomically correct cherub?
I saw a biblically accurate cherub, and I don't like it. Moving on.
Cherub. That's a cherub.
Why have you posted that in our chat?
I don't like biblically accurate cherubs, guys.
Well, I am looking at that. So Bart tries to prove to everyone he's the same and tries to ride his skateboard, but he comedically almost crashes into a woman and crashes into his locker, and the calculus textbook falls on his face. The bullies think he's trying to learn. He's learning on his own, but he sees Bart get absolutely pummeled.
Punch.
We then got to Moe's tavern, and Homer's looking to Moe for advice, and he's got this friend called Joey Jojo Jr. Shabadoo. Moe declares that's the worst name he's ever heard. And a guy at the end of the bar just runs out of the bar crying, and Barney calls after Joey Jojo. It's such a stupid gag.
It's great. It's another one of those clip ones that you're just like, oh, it's from this episode.
Homer finally admits that he's attracted to another woman, and Barney gives him some great advice of his infatuation is based on a physical attraction, and if he talks to Mindy, he'll learn they have nothing in common. Homer wonders how Barney came up with that, and Barney just shows it on a bar napkin, which is drawn like a booze hand giving advice.
So many shows have stolen this gag. Not specifically on a napkin, but like stupidly large amounts of text on a small piece of paper after someone says something like really prescient. It's just very, again, Simpsons was the progenitor.
Homer goes to talk to Mindy, and he's in the break room, and she's eating donuts.
Can't talk, eating.
Homer realizes that she likes his favourite donut of raspberry swirl with double glaze, which prompts Mindy to go, double
It doesn't look much
glaze.
like a raspberry donut, it's got to be said. It looks quite caramelly.
Yeah. Looks like an eclair, to be honest.
Homer dismissively says that he hates drinking beer and watching TV, but Mindy says that's her idea of heaven, and then Homer weakly admits that that's actually his. And Mindy tells him that she's off to go sneaking a nap before lunch, and Homer can barely contain himself. And Homer then declares that I bet he thinks that Ziggy's got too preachy.
Did Ziggy become preachy? I don't really get this.
I have no idea. I have never read Ziggy. I do not know how preachy Ziggy is.
The Ziggy Tops, the singer.
No, there's a newspaper comic that's Ziggy. I don't know if it's called Ziggy, but there's a character called Ziggy at least.
Pull your head out of your ass, Ziggy.
I'm stupid.
Then cut to Homer. Homer at the plant elevator, and he's pleased that he hasn't seen Mindy all day. Then gets in the elevator, and Mindy's already in there. And then gets some awkward thing of them being very close pressed up together. And Mindy says, I guess we'll be going down together. I mean, getting off together. And then Homer says, don't worry, I'll press the button for the stimulator, or the elevator.
Innuendos.
Homer then has to start thinking of unsexy thoughts, and we see that his unsexy thoughts include Patty and Selma sharing their legs, then Barney in a bikini.
Gotta be honest, Barney's rocking that bikini.
Then, unfortunately, he then turns into Mindy, and Homer then realizes that Mindy's doing the exact same thing.
Think on sexy thoughts, think on sexy thoughts.
Homer then says, well, this is my stop, and presses the emergency stop button, then just slides down the side
See
of
you
the
tomorrow.
I have so many questions about this elevator, and the answer to them all is because it's funny.
Doesn't this mean they started at the top of the smokestack?
This also means they work in a cooling tower.
Yeah.
Why is there an elevator in a cooling tower? Why was there a door in the side of the cooling tower? Because it's funny, I know, but also,
Welcome to my world.
I know.
Homer reassures himself that he's coming home to his loving family, and what more could he want? We then see that Marge is ill and doesn't look very attractive at the moment. We then see that Homer sees Bart and touches his sap hair and isn't happy.
Yeah.
Lisa has burnt some fish sticks, and Grandpa is chasing after Santa's little helper, which he confuses for a raccoon.
That raccoon stole my lamb chop.
Homer tries to have some quality time with Marge, and Marge...
Why was Lisa making fish sticks if they had lamb chops?
Lisa didn't want a lamb chop.
Home ec?
Yeah.
Homer tries to have some quality time with Marge, and Marge shows him a t-shirt of a distorted face on it.
They got, what did she say? Like, she got $5 off or something because hers smeared.
$2 off.
$2 off. Damn. Bargain.
Homer then tries to turn the TV back on, and we see that Eye of Springfield is doing a special on cheaters. He then changes the channel, and the Burmese melon fly has over 1,000 sex partners.
And doesn't feel any guilt.
Homer then changes the channel, and we see that there's an advert of women doing several exercises and revealing outfits saying, just do it.
do it.
Homer runs off screaming and just say, the message was actually, examine your scalp for a ringworm.
Why would there be ringworm in your scalp? Isn't
I
ringworm
guess-
a bum thing?
No, I think it manifests on like your. It's just like a circular mark that appears on like your forehead. I think, isn't it? Isn't that
I don't
kind of
know.
how that the symptom of it?
I thought it was called ringworm because ring.
No, I think because it makes a ring shape on you.
Okay. I'm stupid.
I think it's one of those things that's like they call it a worm, but it's just like a virus or something though.
Oh, okay.
Homer decides to call a marriage counselling hotline, and unfortunately he gets picked up by Ned Flanders, who realises it's him, and then says, well, let's bring Marge into this.
Fucking hell.
Homer screams and knocks himself out in the phone booth, and his spirit is brought up by Sir Isaac Newton. Homer unfortunately has no idea.
Someone that he
Recognise
thought he would respect and idolise.
Recognize and revere.
Yes.
So instead, he turns himself into everyone's favourite Nazi Colonel Clink.
Which they also got the original voice actor to do. They got
I know. I
Wesley
was,
Klemperer to
I
do it.
was stunned by that because I thought he'd been dead for a long time.
Also,
before
fun
it's dead.
trivia on this guy is that it had been over 20 years since he had played that role, and he forgot what the character was, so they had to get one of the voice actors to do an impression of the character, so that when a Klemperer could actually do the character properly.
Amazing.
So, if you want some fun facts about Colonel Clink and Hogan's Heroes, we previously discussed that in the German episode of The Simpsons. Bob Crane's murder still remains unresolved, I'm afraid to say. And Colonel Clink still appeared in Batman. Well, good trivia.
Cool.
So, Homer asks him if he's got his letters, and he then reveals that I'm not Colonel Clink, I'm just assuming his form. Homer starts spoiling episodes of Hogan's Heroes, and Colonel Clink has to doing his trademark Homer, and sends Homer off to float and see what his life would have been if he'd married Mindy instead of Marge. We then see that Homer would have been British in a mansion, and everyone would have been very happy.
Why
Marge-
were they British? I know for the bit, but also
We're all happy.
So stupid.
Aren't you happy, Jeeves? Yes, sir.
quite.
Quite.
It then takes him to see how Marge would have been doing, and Marge would have been the president with a great approval rating. Colonel Clink decides that the dream is over, and we see Homer
This
plummet back
dream
to
is
Earth.
over.
Homer plummets back to Earth, and as he comes to, Lionel Hutz turns up and goes, "Hey, get out of my office!
get out
It's
of
in the
my
September
office."
notebook.
Weird cameo for normally they get Phil Hartman in to do like more
Quite a
than
few
one
things,
line. He's usually appears as both like Lionel Hutz and Troy McClure in the same episode.
Was he the bellhop at the end, or was that someone else?
I don't think so. I've no idea who the bellhop was. I'll probably find out.
I assume it's like it was a throwaway line they were going to use in another Phil Hartman episode, and then they recorded
Entirely
it and just
possible.
thought, we might as well just use it.
The bellhop was Hank Azaria.
I thought
Oh,
so.
right, fair
I
enough.
was going to say. It felt like a very Hank Azaria bit.
We then see back at school the bullies are taunting Bart, including the son of Toothless Joe, who tells him he's goofy looking. Bart finally manages to escape and is pulled into a locker by Martin. Martin takes him down a labyrinth to the other nerds that have found sanctuary in the middle of the school, or as one puts it, the refuge of the damned.
Refuge of the Damned. I think that's an Indiana Jones reference.
It's a reference to something. I forget what.
One of the nerds decides to bring a hard-boiled egg and some prune juice, and everyone declares Bart is one of theirs, and Excelsior!
Excelsior!
This whole bit, like, it's such a throwaway thing for something that feels like it's almost the setup to, at the very least, an entire B plot, if like not like an entire plot of its own.
This is another collection of bits, but not done well, in my opinion.
Yeah, set up a whole thing, but Excelsior is where that ends, and we will never see this room or these kids again.
Yeah, you don't need to see him.
Refuge of the Damned was Temple of Doom, yes.
Thought so.
We cut to Homer singing in his bathroom to the Barry Manilow classic Mandy, but he's singing about Mindy and then starts singing about Andy.
About
We don't
Andy
see-
as well, yeah.
We then see that Lisa's in the room and asks why he's singing. But Homer's brain says, tell a lie, and Homer's lie is that he's in a Broadway musical. Homer's brain sarcastically starts clapping him for the lie.
I don't think it was anything sarcastic there. I think his brain was genuinely impressed. He was like, oh, wow, yeah, well done.
I
read
read
that as song.
I read it as sake. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bravo.
Yeah, slow clap.
I thought it was like Homer's brain being like, wow, I would never have thought of that.
So Lisa asks if Homer's hiding something, and Homer says what? And Lisa immediately says that he's infatuated with a woman named Mindy.
Or a man
named Andy. Homer then tries to trick Lisa by looking behind. Lisa doesn't initially fall to it until Homer really lays it on thick of he's being 100% serious, and she's got to turn right around. Lisa finally does, and Homer runs away.
Sucker!
Go to the next scene, and Homer has written a note that on his hand that he and Mindy should stay away from each other. We then see that Lenny has also done the same to apologise to Max. We then see a man saying he's tired of the jokes of his giant hand, which he then lifts up his giant hand to make said point.
Love the
and
giant
he's got
hand,
a
man.
massive note on that, like, goes to the point of talking about, you know, the first giant hand joke was done in 19X something.
56.
Yeah.
56, yeah.
Homer meets Mindy, but
weird. Sorry. I just want one terribly weird and completely irrelevant tangent, which is we used to get some flavorings in at work that came with like a weird cartoon on the side that was supposed to advise you on how to ship it. There was like cargo aircraft only or something, but the way they'd illustrated it was with a guy with a giant hand that had cargo aircraft only written on his hand, and it just made me think of this every time.
Nice.
I don't know why, so weird.
Homer meets Mindy, and unfortunately he's so nervous he's sweating like Robert Ebert.
I'm not aware that he was known for his sweating, but okay, go on.
It's just another one of those weird Homer clever references things.
Yeah, movie reviews are stressful, I guess. And
Yeah, I guess so.
we then see that Homer smudged the writing, so he starts talking to Murphy about being an elf.
And he also has a line in this. His phrasing on his hand devolves into what is a Japanese Buddhist chant.
Oh, okay. That's weird.
Yeah.
Again,
Don't know what to make of that.
Simpsons writers write what they think is funny. The end.
You see that Mr. Burns and Smithers are watching through the monitor, and Mr. Burns thinks that they're inseparable chums, and they're the perfect pair for the energy convention. And as Smithers asks if he's sure, Burns says no one else has the same spirit of camaraderie.
He also says it in a weird way. He says camaraderie. He says it in a very strange way.
We then cut to
Mr.
the
Burns
monitors,
being
and
Burns.
several people are fighting, including the duck pecking out someone.
Yep.
I'm sure he deserved it.
Smithers tells Mindy and Homer they're off to Capital City, and Mindy's very impressed to be going to the Windy Apple.
Why
they
is
go
the
off to get-
capital of Springfield not Springfield?
Because it's capital city.
Think about your question.
My apologies.
Homer declares this the worst crisis of his life and asks why Colonel Klink has forsaken him. Colonel Klink comes, and Homer again reveals that someone in the television show had a radio in the coffee pot, and Colonel Klink is not happy about it. Oh, Colonel Klink, you missed so much.
You fool.
We then cut, and it's the convention, and Homer is taken up to his room, and we see that the hotel itself has been Legionnaires' disease-free since 1990.
Woo!
Okay.
The bellhop introduces Homer to the room and points out the bed where he can use it for several sexual innuendo noises.
Quite a lot of sexual innuendo noises.
My personal favourite being hubba hubba.
Hubba.
Homer says that he loves his wife and family and he's only going to use the bed for sleeping, eating and building a fort.
It's fair.
Maybe building a little fort.
Homer then gets excited by the mouthwash and shampoo and the shower curtain.
Free mouthwash, free shampoo, free shower curtain.
We see that Mindy's doing exactly the same thing, and Mindy points out if the wall wasn't there, they'd be sleeping in the same bed, and Homer says balls are a necessity in today's society.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Mindy then says they should do something wicked that can get them into a lot of trouble, and Homer says they should fight temptation, but nope, they're gonna call room service. And Homer goes, oh. We then see a buzzer going off of Mr. Burns' office saying someone is charging room service to the company, and Burns says, well, we'll see about that. He then goes all Wizard of Oz on us by introducing us to his monkeys.
Fly,
his flying
my pretty.
monkeys.
Fly!
The monkeys
They are
do
not
not
very
fly. They plummet straight to earth when we hear the noise of them hitting the cars and the alarms going off in the background.
The silence before continue the research. Fucking priceless.
It's more just the beginning of the screams. We then cut back and Homer and Mindy are devouring all the room service they've ordered, including finding out that one of the turkeys has fallen behind the bed.
This episode makes
They
me
both-
hungry, man.
She starts eating a foot-long chili dog, and it ends up with their lips touching. Homer's shirt randomly opens to reveal Marge's
It's a
smudged face.
sign.
We then hear that a noise that sounds suspiciously like Marge's, but it's actually just the floor buffer.
Yep.
We then see that Marge tells Bart that his 2 weeks are up and he doesn't have to wear his glasses anymore. And Bart is excited. He ditches his glasses and kicks his shoes off. They fly through the window of Flanders' front thing.
Did
and
any of
Flanders
you
asks-
pray for giant shoes?
I did.
Oakley dokley.
Rod did, so Flanders is perfectly happy with it. We then see that Nelson is talking to the bullies and says they've been doing a lot of upper body work on Bart, and today they'll pound his kidneys. But then see that Bart comes in looking perfectly normal, and Bart says, the nerd that you knew was dead, and said, if you beat me up, you're now beating up on your own. The bullies pause and go, whatever, and then beat him up anyway.
Yeah, why would that change anything? They beat you up very regularly, Bart.
And your B plot is over.
The
Hope you
end.
enjoyed it.
Then it's at the National Energy Convention, and the sign burns out. And we're seeing several things, stores, and we see Hans Moleman is back. And he's
It's a
he's-
boy. Woo!
and he's chancelling
Waving
solar.
a foam finger that just says Hans Moleman.
He's channeling solar energy, and he assures the salesman that it actually works, and this gets him a judo chop to the neck.
Best of
and,
luck! Whack!
We then see that the stall is taken over and by fossil fuels and the sign of users, and nobody gets hurt.
Oh, that's a bit too real today. I'm gonna
Yeah, a
be
little
honest.
bit, a little
I mean, to be fair, they probably knew at least something about it in 1993, but in 2025, it's like, ooh, oof.
Yeah, the planet is dying.
We then see that Homer and Mindy are at their booth, and people are heckling them, including poisoning the planet, bastard. And someone says, no more Chernobyls, and Homer throws a brick at him. And Homer says he was a little worried about going to this convention, but as long as they're not alone together. Unfortunately, at that moment, they're made the king and queen of energy, and being told they've won a romantic dinner alone at Madame Chow's. Homer meekly asks, is there a way to get out of
The
this? And the guy goes, no.
The most romantic Chinese restaurant in capital city.
No, the
And
sexiest.
once
Oh,
again,
my
a question I
apologies.
already know the answer to, but why did a trade expo have a romantic dinner as a prize for a booth?
For the bit.
Yeah, the answer is for the bit, I know.
We go to the romantic dinner, and Mindy is happy that the Chinese restaurant made them cheeseburgers.
God, I fucking the amount of jokes that people make about, like, in sitcoms again, like comedy in general, about someone, if you complain enough, you will get a restaurant to make you anything. And I'm just like, if I was a waiter, I would not back down. I would be like, no, you can either order from the menu or fucking leave. Goodbye.
Homer opens his fortune cookie, and it says he will find happiness when he'll love. Homer then declares that even the Chinese are against him, and says can't fight fate, which prompts Mindy's interest. We then go back to the kitchen, and one of the waiters realizes they're out of the new love cookies, so the other guy tells him to open his stick with your wife
Give
cookies.
your wife out.
Then see that Homer gets back to his room and says tentatively, well, I guess you want to come into Mindy, and Mindy does, and Homer goes, oh. Mindy declares it was a nice night, and Homer starts crying, and Mindy then asks him, what's wrong? He says, oh yeah, like you don't know, we're going to have sex. Mindy awkwardly goes, oh, well, we don't have to.
You don't have to. Yes, we do. The cookie told me to.
Mindy then points out desserts are always right, and Homer just says,
But they're
it's
so sweet.
Mindy then tentatively says we don't have to do anything they don't want, and Homer says kind of wants to, but then he talks about Marge and the kids, then goes on to a bit of a tangent about Bart. But Mindy says, you know how I feel, and then tells Homer to look at his heart, and he'll know what he finds. They have an awkward tentative moment, and there's a little brief peck on the lips. Next scene, Homer's on the bed. Barry White is playing in the background.
Barry
And we get
Manilow.
this... Yeah, I went with the wrong Barry there. Very different context. But we get the slow spin, and it's revealed that it's actually Marge. And Homer has suggested to bring Marge to Capital City.
Why did he
Marge
ask
wears
Marge to
exactly
wear
the same dress as Mindy.
I guess Homer took it.
For the bit.
Yeah.
Did Homer ever tell Marge that he kissed another woman twice?
I don't believe so.
And then Marge points out there's a turkey wrong.
Also,
back of the bed.
she feels better. She's not got a cold anymore.
Yeah.
She got over a
I
cold
don't
a
know.
long time
Unclear
ago.
how much time
And
has
that
passed.
turkey's
yeah.
been there for a whole day.
It might be a different turkey.
That's not that weird.
It's cooked. It's fine. It's probably only a little bit fuzzy.
Ugh.
The lights go off. We can just see the outline of Homer and Marge's eyes as Homer starts singing Barry Manilow again.
Uh-huh.
The bellhop, then the bellhop's eyes show up, and he starts doing his sex noises again. And this just leads to Homer punching him at the end. And that's your
Do
episode.
we mention
folks.
the Marge line?
Marge.
Yeah, he was happy.
What a mildly uncomfortable episode.
This is an episode I've seen way too often because this was on one of the VHS
That you on?
compilation videos. So
Nice.
I had this and I watched this a bunch.
It's not terrible. It's just weird.
It's fine. It's a decent episode. I enjoyed it, but like, it just didn't really land for me because I'm like, yeah, I've seen this.
Yeah.
I know this episode. I know this episode so well that I'm just like, this is really not doing much for me today. I got to be honest.
I like Zoo Troy and Colonel Clink.
I do like Zutroy.
It kind of
And
feels
Joey
like they
Jojo.
came up with a one-line pitch for an episode, realized they had to fill 20 minutes, and then added a weird B plot.
I mean, I do like Michelle Pfeiffer's character. Like, Mindy Simmons is fun, just like the female Homer is like a fun character to have.
I guess. It was fine.
Okay.
There's just nothing to this episode. This episode was meh.
I feel like it had more to it than the last one, personally, but...
Nah, strongly disagree.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a funny episode, but it's
Yeah, no,
reasonable
it's
episode.
definitely an episode where they're trying to do too much,
Yeah.
sappy stuff to be a laugh riot,
Just Homer constantly like feeling bad about wanting to cheat, but being so stupid that he thinks that means he's going to cheat, and it was just weird. It wasn't very Simpsons. They were trying to like do a subversion of standards kind of thing, and it's just weird. It's just weird. You don't expect there to be in an episode of Simpsons Homer crying about the fact that he's going to sleep with a very attractive woman.
With Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Out of Homers, guys.
I'm going to give it a Joey Jojo Jr. Shabadoo out of Homer.
It was the worst episode of Simpsons you've ever seen.
Nope, it was nope. It's, you think it's not, you think that such a thing can't exist, but it actually does.
Ah.
Yeah, okay.
John.
Makes sense of that.
Gave it a turkey behind the bed out of Homer.
You are going to refuse to give context, aren't you?
Yes.
I give it a glasses for lazy eye out of Homer. You only have to experience it once.
Okay. I don't think you fix lazy eye with glasses for 2 weeks, do you?
Probably not, but it's a reference. It's a reference to the episode, which is what I try to do.
Yeah, I know.
Did it say anything about
Cool.
society?
Consent is good.
The Chinese encourage adultery.
More relationship trouble would be solved with polyamory.
Don't mess with the Department of Labor.
I feel like a lot of sitcoms have done this, and a lot of like boomer humor does this. Of like a lot of stories say the same thing of just because someone's similar to you doesn't mean you're meant to be with them. It's the differences in your relationship that make you a better couple. It's bullshit. It's just advice that boomers tell their kids and their grandchildren because they were trapped in loveless marriages with people they have nothing in common to, so we should be too. Fuck that. Find someone with your interests, or don't find someone.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you're saying is Homer should have run off with Mindy.
Absolutely. If you have nothing in common with your partner, you shouldn't be with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple. But so much of 90s media specifically told you the opposite thing. And that's why
Opposites
millennials
attract, yeah.
are fucked.
Yeah. I mean, like, I kind of threw the whole sort of polyamory thing there away as a throwaway, but like, I did cross my mind as I was watching it, like, so much stuff like this, almost everything, almost universally, like, it's weird.
If we all just fucked and stopped thinking sex was like the be all and end all of a relationship.
Yeah, literally kind of that. Yeah, like I since coming out as queer and becoming involved in queer communities, so many more people in my life are poly and just very comfortable and happy about that. And like, it's just cool and whatever. So for like mainstream everything, media, music, whatever, to be all like absolutely hung up and obsessed with this monogamy thing is like, really does feel like propaganda sometimes,
Yeah, absolutely.
Just fuck people. It's fun.
To some extent, it genuinely was propaganda of stay with someone regardless because you need to keep producing children for the sake of going to war.
Yeah. Or at least working in Starbucks.
What a downer of an ending, guys.
You tell the people where they can
Shall
find
we
you.
say our goodbyes?
I think we should. We are at the 2-hour mark, so let's do it before we cross that threshold. Matt, what you got going on?
I stream every day except Thursdays and Fridays on twitch.tv/MrGablin, currently playing through Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. We're also playing a new game that for some reason I keep forgetting the name of, even though I'm enjoying it. Nitrogen Omega. That's why I forget it, because it's gibberish. It's great. It's a cool mecha game. I'm streaming it. I'll probably stream it on my day off tomorrow. It's great. I really, really enjoy it. And yeah, I'm also on Blue Sky at Matt Perspective.
Michael.
Yep, I am on the Blue Sky at Budapest. Not a great deal for me to feedback. Just to gently remind people that we are on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple if you want to check out past episodes of our podcast.
We sure are. I keep thinking any day now I should probably go through all of our old non-video episodes and turn them into something that's viewable on YouTube, but watch the space.
If someone wants to catalogue all of our Out of Homers because we keep forgetting to, and every time we still stop, we still haven't started cataloguing them, if someone wants to do that, feel free.
I would love for somebody to do that. That would be really appreciated.
If you do that, we will send you a customized pair of Beyondies.
Don't make promises your pants can't keep.
I'll send you something signed, I guess, if you really wanted that. I'll hang out with you on Discord and call you a Chad. I won't say anything else.
That's doable.
I won't say anything else.
That's a very deliverable prize.
I think so.
Follow me on Blue Sky. I'm at Maroka. Check out my other YouTube channel. It's Button Mash. That's all I do, really. Listen to Wolf Arnold.
Leave me alone.
It's a thing that exists. I'm not saying you need to make more episodes. I'm just saying people need to go listen to it.
Leave me alone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.